Chapter 585. The large truck slowly approached the dock of the Tianjin port. In order not to attract attention, Li Fan deliberately chose a secluded small dock. A small yacht was waiting there. This yacht was bought by the Shield of China. The boat was 15 meters long and had 3 floors. It was white. Although the boat was not particularly big, its speed was not slow, which was in line with Li Fan's requirements. The truck stopped on the shore. 4 special soldiers of the Shield of China jumped out and opened the door. A ray of light shone into the car. It was a little dazzling, and Lu Xiaohu could not help but close his eyes. The prisoner number 09, who was locked in a cage, was carried out of the truck and placed on a pull board, waiting to be transported to the boat. Take off his blindfold and gag. After Li Fan jumped out of the car, he gave the order. This prisoner is very dangerous. It's not good for you to do this, right? Su asked. Don't worry. Li Fan said, it was boring along the way. I'll see if I can get any information from his mouth. Go, remove his blindfold and gag. Yes. A special soldier nodded. At this time, Li Fan was their highest officer. Hearing the officer's order, he immediately carried it out and removed the prisoner's blindfold and gag. The prisoner also frowned before slowly opening his eyes. Yo! Prisoner number 9 looked at the people in front of him, and the corner of his mouth slowly floated into a smile. He was Chinese, and his Mandarin was very fluent. You guys are escorting me. How can this be? I thought there would be at least 10 tanks and 5 fighter jets to escort me. This person was handsome, but his skin seemed pale because he had not seen the sun for many years. However, his complexion was still very good, and his whole body was in good condition. There was even a little indifference in his voice. There's no need for so many. I alone am enough. Li Fan stood in front of prisoner number 09 with his hands behind his back. Forgive me for being ignorant. After all, I haven't been out for a long time. Prisoner number 9 politely asked Li Fan, may I know your name? My name is Li Fan, the head of Fifan Escort Agency. Li Fan introduced himself. We'll be together for a long time. Don't call me by the wrong name. Alright. This person was cultured and refined, introducing himself. I am called Kai Yang, everyone likes to call me Mr. Yang. From what you said, you should be a person of status, right? Li Fan asked, and he should be very knowledgeable. Why did he kill people? Brotherly, we have different philosophies. Kai Yang was very refined. My whole life, I have been serving my ideals. What philosophy? Tell me about it. Save the world. Kai Yang said. Are you kidding me? The 2 people beside you are mutants, right? Yang Kai pointed at Bai Lin Luo and Lu Xiaohu with his eyes. So what if I am? Lu Xiaohu, who was still unhappy, snorted at Kai Yang. They are like a virus, polluting this beautiful world. Kai Yang continued, 20 years ago, there was an organization called the Golden Empire. The people in their organization were all mutants, and they wanted to change the entire world. They wanted to kill all the ordinary humans, leaving only the mutants. They called it evolution. Only the evolved humans are worthy of the new world. So 20 years ago, these people started one war after another, killing who knows how many ordinary humans. Golden Empire? Li Fan frowned. This was the first time he heard of this place. The Golden Empire was a radical mutant organization. Su walked over and explained to Li Fan, but 20 years ago, they were already destroyed. But it seems like there are still some survivors, and they want to continue their evolution. Ha, you guys are still mutants. Mr. Yang said, for the sake of this world, we can only get rid of them. The Golden Empire is extreme enough, but you guys are not far off. Li Fan looked at Mr. Yang, bro, it's not up to you to decide what happens in this world. Who knows how many innocent people have died in your hands? As long as it is a mutant, they will definitely do unforgivable things. Mr. Yang said, this power should belong to the gods. It was the demons who stole this power and sent it to the human world. Once a human grasps a power that does not belong to them, their hearts will be taken away by the demons. There are also mutants who are not like what you think. Li Fan emphasized, you won't even let a single mutant go. People like you, do you think you are qualified to talk about ideals? To achieve great things, there must be sacrifices. Mr. Yang said, Brother Li, there is an old saying that I think you should know. A general success is built on 10,000 bones, do you remember? I am sorry, but I cannot accept your ideals. Li Fan shook his head, what awaits you is a trial. It doesn't matter, I can carry out my ideals myself, I don't need others to understand. Mr. Yang smiled. On the path of philosophy, you can't expect everyone to be your companion. This person's gaze was firm, Li Fan felt that it was difficult to communicate with him. However, I will not necessarily go to this trial. Mr. Yang said, I have been doing this for so many years, I still have some status in Hunter. If you are not important to Hunter, I would not have brought you here. Li Fan smiled, Mr. Yang, do you think that we will not be able to leave this port? Mr. Yang's eyebrows slightly knitted together. At this moment, 10 men dressed in black suddenly appeared on top of the surrounding containers. Each of them was equipped with hunter's weapons, and each of them was staring at them like a tiger watching its prey. Everyone be careful. Susu exclaimed, the people from Hunter are here. The 10 experts from Hunter jumped down one after another, using all kinds of supernatural powers in an attempt to save Mr. Yang. From a few cars beside them, many hunters rushed out with weapons in their hands, charging towards Li Fan. For Special Forces soldiers immediately raised their weapons, surrounded the cage, and started shooting at the hunters. The 10 experts in black were equipped with weapons, and the ordinary hunters were injectors of Angel Gene. These people held an explosion-proof shield in one hand, and a katana in the other, surrounding the group. Bai Lin Luo threw Wang Xiaoyuan to block their attacks. However, there were too many people on the other side, and there were experts in the formation, so the situation was dangerous. Brother Li, you see, I am indeed very important to them. Mr. Yang said slowly, perhaps Brother Li has some special ability to deal with these excellent soldiers? Chapter 586. Let's look down and we'll know. Li Fan didn't panic. He crossed his arms and stood there with a smile on his face. At this moment, a man in armor rode a warhorse like a god descending from the sky. He waved a crescent moon blade and directly jumped off the cruise ship. The warhorse was also armored and neighed. Its steps were light as it landed on the ground. With a wave of the crescent moon blade, 3 hunters were cut down. Guan Wenbao. This descendant of the Guan family's battle prowess was doubled on horseback. Riding on his beloved Lisa, he brandished his sharp sword and slashed his way through the enemies. These hunters weren't even a match for Guan Wenbao and they were all cut down by him. Mr. Yang's face turned slightly pale but he still said, so you've hidden such an expert. But if it's just him alone, he won't be able to deal with the warriors of the gods. The 10 black-clothed experts unleashed their special ability weapons and attacked Guan Wenbao. Even if it was Guan Wenbao, it would be difficult for him to deal with so many experts by himself. However, Li Fan smiled and said, Mr. Yang, don't look down on my Fifan escort agency. I still have some people under me. As he spoke, 2 figures slowly walked out from the darkness. One was white-haired but had the demeanor of an immortal. He wore a white robe and looked like an old man who practiced Taiji in the park in the morning. However, his eyes were bright and he walked with a majestic gait. He was more vigorous than some of the young men. He stood on top of the container and stared at the battlefield like a falcon. The other one was wearing an ordinary sea sole shirt and a pair of camouflage shorts. His legs were strong and the muscles on his calves looked like they could explode. They contained unimaginable energy. Big Dipper, Flying Dragon. Thank you for your hard work, escorts from Beijing 11 Cavalries. Li Fan cupped his hands at them. Chief Escort, leave it to us. Big Dipper laughed, his voice deep and resounding. Mr. Yang was confused. There was an old man and a strong man. Could the two of them handle Hunter's 10 masters? At this moment, Fei Long attacked first. It should be said that he had kicked out. He stood there and suddenly whipped out his right leg. A whirlwind burst out, directly ripping apart the two black-clothed experts and sending them flying. On the other hand, Seven Star simply stood on the container in a horse stance, and the black-clad expert below was immediately sent flying over 10 meters away. His body was embedded in a container, and there was a clear fist imprint on his chest. When the two of them attacked, Mr. Yang's face finally turned completely pale. There were so many experts in Hunter, but none of them were a match for them. At this moment, a black-clothed expert broke through the blockade. The ability on his saber was a kind of black shadow. This person stood up from the shadow behind Li Fan. He held a knife and wanted to stab Li Fan's neck from behind. He had undergone training, so his movements were clean and precise, and his attack was swift. However, Li Fan did not even turn his head. The Aries god popped out from behind him and slapped the black-clothed expert into the ground like he was swatting a fly. Mr. Yang, if you need anything important in the future, remember to look for us, Fifan. It's fate that we know each other, so I can give you a 20% discount. You guys are martial artists. Mr. Yang quickly regained his composure. Martial artists are not allowed to interfere with the world of normal people and mutants. Are you going to break the treaty? Break the treaty? Li Fan raised an eyebrow. I don't know who made the treaty with you guys, but the person with the most authority in the martial arts world is my fiancée. From what I know, she doesn't have such an unwritten treaty with you guys. It's a treaty from 20 years ago. Susu let out a sigh of relief when she saw the situation had stabilized. As expected, it was the right decision to hand it over to Li Fan. He actually had so many hidden experts. 20 years ago, there was a terrible war between the martial fighters and the mutants. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. Therefore, we came up with this treaty to not interfere with each other's affairs. Sorry, 20 years ago, I wasn't even born yet. This treaty can't bind me. Li Fan shrugged. Not to mention, my brother was among the people you wanted to kill. So, you guys started it first, understand? Brother Li is eloquent. Since that's the case, we'll wait and see. Mr. Yang watched as everyone who came to save him was defeated. He did not say anything else. Okay, looks like we've reached a temporary consensus. Li Fan nodded and waved his hand. Let's call it a day. Someone will clean up the battlefield in a moment. For soldiers, I'll have to trouble you guys to transport our VIP. Mr. Big Dipper, Brother Fei Long, thank you for your help. Head escort, you're too polite. We're all working for you now, so it's only natural for us to do something. Big Dipper and Fei Long both looked at Li Fan with a smile. You're our boss now. I've already sent the advance payment to your accounts. Li Fan said. I'll have to trouble you two to come with me on a trip abroad. It's fine. This old man has never left the country in his life. This time, I can go and experience it. Big Dipper was easygoing and Fei Long did not have any objections. As long as the escort is alive, the man is alive. Then I'll have to trouble you too. Li Fan cupped his hands to express his thanks. Guan Wenbao rode his warhorse to Li Fan's side. The crescent blade in his hand was still dripping with blood. The descendant of the Guan family sure has an extraordinary bearing. Big Dipper was overjoyed when he saw Guan Wenbao. For people in the pugilistic world, bloodline is very important. A loyal descendant like Guan Wenbao is someone every martial artist wants to befriend. Greetings, Mr. Big Dipper. Greetings, Big Brother Fei Long. Guan Wenbao jumped off his warhorse and bowed to them. Savior, I didn't fail you. He knelt down in front of Li Fan and bowed respectfully. Li Fan hurriedly helped him up. Why are you so polite? Go back to a city with Lisa. Leave the rest to the Yenjing 11 cavalry. Okay. Guan Wenbao nodded and stayed on the dock. I'll help Savior. Ha, they're already dead. What's the point? Li Fan laughed. These hunters are nothing special. They're not qualified to touch my fief and escort agency's escort. Stop blowing your own trumpet. Get on the boat. Susu shouted at him. No matter how Li Fan heard it, it sounded like she was going to bed. He quickly patted his head, dispelled those unhealthy thoughts, and followed Susu onto the small boat. At this moment, a hunter who was knocked out woke up. With a fanatical look in his eyes, he pulled open his clothes and revealed the detonator inside. For the gods! This person is going to detonate the bomb. Chapter 587. The detonators tied to his waist could definitely send this small dock to the sky. Susu looked back, and her face changed. But Guan Wenbao suddenly raised his knife, and the man's head flew into the sky. He lost control of his body, and slowly fell to the ground. Take care, benefactor. Have a safe journey. Guan Wenbao said loudly. Looking at the head that rolled to the side, Susu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Li Fan's subordinates. What kind of people did he raise? The boat slowly left the port. They were going to be at sea for half a month. We're going to live together for half a month. Li Fan sat in the cabin, looking at Mr. Yang who was locked in front of him. Facing a group of men every day, it must be very uncomfortable. Mr. Yang's room was independent, but it had a glass wall, so that they could observe and see Mr. Yang. This Mr. Yang, at this time, even going to the toilet was not a secret. But Mr. Yang looked at ease, and said slowly, "It's okay, as long as you provide me with something to eat every day. I'm a little suspicious of my French chef. His filet mignon is really good, I hope you can try it." "Then I'm really sorry, we don't have that condition here." Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, this trip is only without a chef. In Li Fan's phenomenal escort agency, the best cook was Xia Yi. His little senior sister seemed to be in charge of the meals in Mount Hua, and her cooking was really superb. When she was not escorting, she would cook for everyone in the company, making them picky with food. They found it hard to swallow the food cooked by others. Taiju's cooking was also very good. After leaving City A, Li Fan really missed the food cooked by these two people. On this boat, only the bread and canned food they had in reserve could be eaten. After 5 days, we can go to the dock to replenish our food. At that time, we can buy you 2 pieces of instant steak or something. That kind of thing can't be swallowed at all. Damn, aren't you busy implementing your philosophy to save the world? Why are you so particular? Saving the world doesn't mean lowering the quality of life. Mr. Yang said, "Li Fan, do you know how China is inferior to other countries? How developed?" No. Our country's standards aren't any worse than overseas. What China lacks are nobles. Mr. Yang said elegantly, during the 10 years of turmoil, the older generation of China's aristocrats were all overthrown. Those who later became rich were all nouveau riche after the reform and opening up. They didn't have the heritage of the nobles, nor did they have the level of culture that the nobles had. We, China, should have our own aristocrats. They can represent our identity. There are 2 things I don't agree with. Li Fan raised 2 fingers. First, there are still some old aristocrats in China. However, they are not in the open, but in the underworld. For example, Murong's family and Sima's family were both great families with centuries of history. Moreover, the nobles cannot represent Huaxia. The ones who can truly represent Huaxia are all of us. A country cannot be represented by a small number of people. Perhaps what you said is reasonable, but it can't change my mind. Mr. Yang's way of thinking was deeply rooted. He was always the one who brainwashed others. It was too difficult for Li Fan to change his mind. "Mr. Li, do you know that I'm actually a mutant?" During the long time on the ship, Mr. Yang always found an opportunity to chat with Li Fan. What he said today surprised Li Fan. "You're also a mutant?" Even Susu was shocked when she heard this. They had imprisoned 09 for so many years, but this was the first time they heard that he was also a mutant. Just by staying with Li Fan for a while, he was actually willing to say such valuable information. However, was this information true or false? This Mr. Yang was too powerful. His words couldn't be fully trusted. "If you don't believe me, you can actually try." Mr. Yang said indifferently, "My ability is the kind that doesn't hurt people. You can rest assured." "Since you're a mutant, why do you want to kill other mutants?" Susu asked angrily. "Because mutants are sinful." "Aren't you a mutant yourself?" "I'm deeply sinful." Mr. Yang's expression didn't change. He said naturally, "When I eliminate all the sins in this world, I will end my own life, go see the gods, and beg for their forgiveness." "You're really a madman," Susu immediately said. "I'm not a madman." Mr. Yang shook his head, "Because I have faith." "People without faith, they're the madmen." Susu actually couldn't refute. "What ability do you have?" Li Fan felt that it was more important to first ask about Mr. Yang's ability. Maybe when they reached Geneva, he wouldn't be willing to say it. "My ability requires others to come into contact with me for it to be effective." Mr. Yang said, "Brotherly, if you don't mind, you can come in and try." Susu quickly stopped him, "Don't listen to him. This person definitely wants to trick you. He's full of evil ideas." "No problem." Li Fan waved his hand, "I want to see what tricks he can play. Big Dipper, Fei Long, you two help me. Little Four Eyes, you go to the deck and keep watch. Lu Xiaohu, you can do whatever you want." Lu Xiaohu was a bit dumbfounded. The high school entrance exam was coming. What could he do on this ship? To let him read, he really couldn't bear to continue reading. But if he didn't study, he definitely wouldn't be able to enter a good high school. "Don't worry, the bureau chief has already arranged it." Susu saw Lu Xiaohu's anxiety and patted his shoulder, "You can directly enter a high school. 4th high school, Renmin High School, 11th high school, you can choose." "Ah, really? There's such a good thing." Lu Xiaohu immediately smiled, Okay, then I'm relieved." Li Fan looked at him helplessly, then turned and walked into Mr. Yang's room. "Lu Xiaohu, this kid, if he doesn't know how to improve himself, no one can help him." Li Fan walked into the glass room and stood in front of Mr. Yang. "Touch my forehead and you'll know what my ability is." "But, brotherly, do you dare? Are you trying to provoke me?" Li Fan said, "Even if you don't provoke me, I'll still try." With that, Li Fan wrapped his body with true energy and then placed his hand on Mr. Yang's forehead. At this moment, Li Fan felt an electric current coming from Mr. Yang's forehead and instantly entered Li Fan's body. But this electric current didn't hurt Li Fan. Instead, it stimulated Li Fan's brain and projected a scene in his mind. Chapter 588. Li Fan realized that he had become a child. Beside him stood an adult, a man and a woman. The man was handsome and the woman was pretty. Both of them were talented. The two of them held his hand and walked on the street of a small foreign town. The people in this town were friendly and enthusiastic. This small town seemed to be a historical capital. The surrounding buildings were all in an ancient style. The clean streets and old buildings made Li Fan feel as if he had returned to medieval Europe. Li Fan felt happy. This seemed to be Mr. Yang's emotion. And this child should also be the young Mr. Yang. "Mom, I'm hungry." The young Mr. Yang spoke, and Li Fan could even feel a sense of hunger. "Open your mouth. Did you forget what I said?" Mr. Yang's father, who was wearing a neat suit, scolded softly. "A gentleman shouldn't talk about hunger." "But Dad, I'm really hungry." Okay. Let's go eat something." Mr. Yang's mother spoiled her son. Thank you, Mom. Li Fan felt happy. The young Mr. Yang would be happy just because he could eat delicious food when he was hungry. However, at this moment, a few figures suddenly descended from the sky in their line of sight. These figures landed on the ground. Some released lightning, some spat fire, and some created ice. The whole street turned into hell in a blink of an eye. Many people died and many were injured. The street was in chaos. The survivors ran for their lives. Mr. Yang's parents panicked. His father carried Mr. Yang, who had not reacted yet. He pulled his mother with one hand and turned to run. A little girl was crying in the ruins. Beside her was her mother, who was crushed to death by the rubble. Only one arm was exposed. The little girl squatted on the ground and held her mother's hand. She cried and shouted, "Mom! Mom! Wake up!" Another building was split by a mutant's lightning. It slowly collapsed to the ground. Take the child and leave. Father Yang didn't hesitate. He put Mr. Yang on the ground and ran to the little girl. He picked up the little girl, but the collapsing building instantly buried them. Husband! Mother Yang let out a heart-wrenching scream. A mutant with wings on his back flew over. When he saw Mother Yang, a cruel smile appeared on his face. Lowly people must be eliminated. No! Mother Yang squatted down and hugged Mr. Yang. Countless arrows flew over and hit Mother Yang's body. Li Fan woke up and looked at Mr. Yang, who was sitting in front of him. Mr. Yang's face was indifferent, as if it was just a movie that had nothing to do with him. What I saw was your memory? Li Fan asked as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Yes, this is my special ability. Mr. Yang nodded. After my parents died, it probably gave me too much stimulation, which allowed me to awaken this special ability. Maybe that's why the mutant didn't kill me. These are the reasons for your revenge? No, it's just a fuse. Mr. Yang said, this disaster took away my parents, but this is a test given to me by the gods. I survived and joined the faction of the gods to redeem the world and eliminate the demons. He's just a kid. Do you think they're also devils? Li Fan pointed at Lu Xiaohu, who was waiting for an opportunity to peek at Susu's underwear. The little girl you saw in your memory, is she guilty? Mr. Yang asked. Mutants are devils. Sooner or later, they will become murderous devils. How is your judgment different from the people of the Golden Empire? Li Fan snorted, the pot calling the kettle black. Perhaps, what you said is reasonable. Mr. Yang looked at Li Fan and suddenly said, if you're willing, I can let you join Hunter to convince the others. The mutants are guilty. This is unchangeable. But we can develop some kind of genetic drug to inject into the mutants to make them lose their superpower. Li Fan looked at Mr. Yang again, are you serious? Hunter's main purpose is to save the world. Killing people is not our main purpose. Li Fan frowned and then slowly relaxed. Mr. Yang, you're really good. You almost convinced me. But what you said can't cover up the sins you've committed. To me, putting down the butcher's knife and becoming a Buddha is not possible. Brother Li, putting down the butcher's knife and becoming a Buddha means that if a person puts down the greed, anger, and delusion in his heart, he will have the opportunity to become a Buddha. It means that all living beings are equal and everything can become a Buddha. Go away, don't show off your knowledge to me. In short, you have to go to trial. Li Fan rolled his eyes. After all, there's still 1 million left. My task is to escort you to Geneva for trial. You just wait to go to jail in Geneva. Brother Li's life is really pure. It's really enviable. Mr. Yang looked at Li Fan with envy, but, the world is very complicated. It's not as black and white as Brother Li. So, if there are people like Brother Li, there must also be people like me. He suddenly said, since you're here, why don't we talk about the Golden Empire? Why talk about them? They will definitely come to kill me. So, I have to give you a heads up. Mr. Yang smiled and said. Wasn't the Golden Empire destroyed? Yes, it was destroyed. Mr. Yang nodded. Then, do you know who destroyed the Golden Empire? You're not going to say it's you guys, right? It's us. Mr. Yang's face turned serious. How do you think Hunter was established? How could I create such a huge organization by myself to fight against the Golden Empire? Hunter is an organization invested by all the countries in the world. Mr. Yang's words surprised Li Fan. They nurtured us and let us destroy the Golden Empire. But then, we became useless. So, we became chess pieces that were discarded. And we found our faith. The gods saved us and let us continue to live. As for the other countries, they defeated the Golden Empire and captured the leader of the Golden Empire, a man called God of Creation. The other countries stole the mutant gene from him and used it to nurture their country's super weapon. Including China's shield, it was also the same. Some of the mutants in China's shield were born by injecting the mutant gene. Li Fan felt that his brain wasn't enough to handle it. Chapter 589. Mr. Yang's words subverted Li Fan's common sense. According to him, these countries had trained Hunter, the demon, and used him to kill the Golden Empire. They had captured the Golden Empire's big boss, stolen his genes, and trained their own mutants. I'm telling the truth, and I have no reason to lie to you. Mr. Yang was very calm. Since we are going to be together for so long, we should talk more and get to know each other better. I don't want to hear your flowery words. Li Fan frowned. I've never lied, so it's not flowery words. Mr. Yang emphasized. I'm telling the truth. You just don't want to accept the truth. Don't give me that. Alright, since you don't want to hear the truth, I'll share some information about the Gold Empire with you. Mr. Yang was not impatient. Seeing that Li Fan was unhappy, he changed the topic. The mutants that appeared in my memory are known as the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Fuck, are you trying to tell me about X-Men? Li Fan rolled his eyes. X-Men is a movie, but it's the truth now. Mr. Yang said slowly. The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse is a story from the Bible. The creator of the Gold Empire used it as a gimmick. You should know how narcissistic he is just by listening to the title he calls himself, the creator. I can feel it, but I think you're not bad either. Li Fan glanced at Mr. Yang. You and him are about the same, no one is worse than you. No. You're being too emotional. You've never seen the creator before. That's why you can say that. Compared to him, a person like me is like a small sorcerer in the presence of a great sorcerer. Whatever you say. Anyway, it doesn't affect my mission. Li Fan felt that they had talked a lot. Mr. Yang's words were always tempting. Li Fan didn't know what Mr. Yang was planning. Li Fan wasn't a scheming person. While he wasn't stupid, compared to Bai Lin Luo, Ling Tian, and Dong Yi, he definitely couldn't compare to them in terms of scheming. As for Mr. Yang in front of him, he was even more shrewd. Li Fan couldn't see through him, so it was better to stay away from him. Li Fan, you don't have to be afraid of me. You're not a mutant. Maybe we can even be friends. I'm not a mutant, but my brother is. Li Fan drew a clear line. If you want to do something to him, that means you want to do something to me. I'm sorry, but we're all enemies, pure enemies. Hearing you say that, I do feel a little sad. Mr. Yang sighed. Don't be sad. Think about what you're going to say in court. As Li Fan was scolding Mr. Yang, Bai Lin Luo's voice came from outside. Li Fan, there's a situation. Go out and take a look. Mr. Yang smiled and said to Li Fan, we have plenty of time. We can talk later. Stay here. When Li Fan came out of the glass room, Su Su and the rest had already gone upstairs. You stay here and keep an eye on him. Li Fan patted Lu Xiaohu's shoulder and ordered. Ah. Lu Xiaohu was stunned. Can I do it? He can't get out. What are you afraid of? Li Fan stuffed the walkie-talkie into his hand. If there's anything, just shout through the walkie-talkie. After that, Li Fan went upstairs. Suddenly, Lu Xiaohu's shout came from the earpiece. Master! Master! If you have something to say, say it. I want to pee. Scram! Li Fan stood on the deck. Basically, everyone on the boat was here, observing the surroundings together. Little Four Eyes, what did you see? Li Fan asked. Bai Lin Luo stretched out his hand and pointed to the side. In the seawater next to them, there was a figure breaking through the waves. It was a human figure. His feet stepped on the water like a shrimp soldier and crab general in ancient Chinese mythology. He could ride the wind, break the waves, and control the seawater. This person's speed was extremely fast. He was bare-chested, crossed his arms, and wore a pair of shorts. Barefoot, he stepped on the waves and caught up to Li Fan's boat. Be careful, it's a mutant. Su recognized the identity of the other party. She was a little nervous. This person could ride the wind and break the waves. His level was definitely not low. He was at least an A-level mutant. You're Li Fan. The other party was a foreigner. He spoke in broken Chinese and asked Li Fan coldly. Sir, don't tell me you came all the way here to say hello to me. Li Fan, on the other hand, was very relaxed. He smiled and looked at this brother who suddenly appeared. Hand over Mr. Yang. This person went straight to the point and ordered. Hey, brother, who do you think you are? Do you think I have to give him to you just because you came all the way here? Li Fan laughed. I'm an officer of the Golden Empire, Poseidon. This brother shouted the name of a Greek god. Li Fan raised his eyebrows. Mr. Yang said your boss is narcissistic. Looks like this disease is contagious. If you don't hand over Mr. Yang, the waves will swallow your boat. The man called Poseidon raised the trident in his hand and swung it toward the sky. A huge wave immediately rose behind the cruise ship. It would sweep down at any moment and swallow the ship. 7-Star and Flying Dragon stood on the deck. Seeing this scene, they could not help but frown. They were martial artists, but they had entered the world of mutants. Facing these people with superpowers, the two martial artists had a headache. However, Li Fan was not the least bit nervous. Instead, he looked at Poseidon who was walking on the waves and said, Li Fan, have not experienced any storms or waves. Do you think you can scare me with this little wave? Looks like you don't know how powerful the Golden Empire is. Poseidon said and swung his trident down. The terrifying waves immediately came crashing down and were about to engulf the cruise ship. However, the great god of war popped out from Li Fan's back and struck a palm at the huge wave that was crashing down. Polar Ursa King Seal. Bang! The huge wave was forcefully squeezed out of the huge hole. The waves immediately dispersed and the cruise ship swayed with the wave. However, it quickly became quiet again. Poseidon was a little surprised. He did not expect the other party to be able to break his superpower. Come up and talk. Li Fan let the great Ares use the dragon toad's ingestion of water on Poseidon. Poseidon's body was immediately pulled over and thrown on the deck. Bang! Poseidon was clearly confused from the fall. His brain could not react. Fuck! Poseidon jumped up and tried to attack Li Fan. Susu, give him a gift. Chapter 590. Poseidon looked at the beautiful woman walking toward him. For some reason, he felt a chill in his balls. It was a subconscious thought. Poseidon did not know why he felt this way. My body is protected by the water ability. You can't hurt me. Poseidon took 2 steps back. His body rippled. He was releasing some kind of water-related ability. But Susu ignored it. Her ability was directly applied to the human body. She squeezed her palm toward Poseidon. Ow! A heart-wrenching scream came from the sea. When he saw Susu again, Poseidon was no longer as tough as before. Susu walked forward. He was so scared that he took a few steps back. What? What ability is this? An ability that specializes in dealing with men. Susu smiled sweetly. Li Fan and the other men felt a little pain in their balls. Susu's move was really a godly skill. A man was completely restrained by her. Anyone who wanted to go against her would have to think about how hard their balls were. After all, Poseidon was an A-level master. Among the martial fighters, his combat ability was at least at the peak of perfection. However, he was too unlucky to meet Susu on the same ship. The Widowmaker. Mr. Poseidon, thank you for coming all the way here to help. Li Fan squatted on the ground and looked at Poseidon. I have a few questions for you. Are you willing to answer them? Poseidon did not speak. Susu smiled. Her smile made Poseidon tremble in fear. Wait. Don't you Chinese treat your captives well? Poseidon's forehead was covered in cold sweat as he blurted out such a sentence. The trauma Susu had left in his heart was too great. No man could block this move. It was too unsolvable. His water curtain could block bullets, but it could not block the woman's attack. Li Fan. Are you still a man? You're actually hiding behind a woman. Poseidon looked at Li Fan angrily, trying to provoke Li Fan. I'm sorry, but I'm a pacifist. Li Fan smiled at Poseidon. Poseidon gritted his teeth in anger. Li Fan, you can't escape. Mr. Yang must die. With him, you won't be able to leave this area alive. Oh. Why do you say so? Li Fan. As a martial fighter, you've entered the world of mutants. You've broken the rules, so you have to pay the price. What's the price? Can't you just say it all at once? What are you waiting for? Li Fan rolled his eyes. You will know our power. As Poseidon spoke, he suddenly slapped the boat with his palm. With a rumbling sound, waves rose all around, and the boat began to sway. Susu didn't stand firm either. She grabbed Li Fan and pressed her chest against his arm to stabilize her body. Poseidon took the opportunity to slip away. He entered the sea as if he had returned home. It would be difficult for Li Fan to find him. This guy runs really fast. Li Fan instructed Wyvern. Brother Wyvern, please keep an eye on the deck. By Lin Luo, you and Brother Wyvern keep an eye on him. Okay. The two nodded in unison. Li Fan immediately walked into the cabin. Where are you going? Susu was curious. Why was Li Fan not keeping an eye on Poseidon? Why was he running into the cabin? Was there gold in the cabin? I'm going to get some information. What Li Fan hated the most was a fight that he wasn't prepared for. Now that he had a know-it-all on his ship, it was time to make use of him. However, when he reached the cabin, Li Fan was dumbfounded. Lu Xiaohu was sitting in the glass room, playing Gamoku with Mr. Yang on his phone. Lu Xiaohu. Li Fan almost exploded. This kid, does he want to die? Or is there something wrong with his brain? Fuck, uncle, you play Gamoku very well. Didn't you say you don't know how to play? Indeed, I don't know how to play. I only know some Go. Mr. Yang had a smile on his face. But I don't think Gamoku is very difficult. Lu Xiaohu was very depressed. He curled his lips. Fuck, there's no computer. Otherwise, young master would play 2 rounds of LOL with you. I guarantee that you would lose all your underwear. What is LOL? Lu Xiaohu mentioned something that Mr. Yang did not know. It's fancy masturbation. Li Fan walked in, took Lu Xiaohu out, and threw him outside. Brotherly, it's only been a while, and you're here to chat with me again? Mr. Yang laughed. There's still so much time. We don't have to rush. Let's take it slow. Mr. Yang, I think we should get straight to the point and have a chat. Li Fan sat opposite Mr. Yang and looked at him seriously. Who is Poseidon? Poseidon? Mr. Yang raised his eyebrows slightly. This is an expert from the Golden Empire. When the Golden Empire was destroyed, he was one of the survivors. Because his ability is water, he escaped from the sea in time. How many people are there in the Golden Empire? I don't know about that. Back then, only 5 people managed to escape. Mr. Yang said. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and Poseidon, only these 5 escaped. As for the rest, they were either dead or injured. But 20 years have passed. The Golden Empire must have trained some mutants. Since the other countries can research the drug, I think the Golden Empire can do it too. For an organization to rise again after being defeated like this, there must be someone supporting them from behind. Li Fan asked Mr. Yang. I need you to tell me what kind of organization is supporting these guys from behind. That's hard to say. Mr. Yang shrugged. Supporting the Golden Empire will have countless organizations profiting from it. Behind this, there might even be some big countries supporting them. Mr. Yang looked at Li Fan with a smile on his face. Brotherly, I think you should ask some intelligence dealers about this kind of thing. I've been out of touch with the outside world for 20 years. How would I know what's happening outside? Intelligence dealers need to pay for their information. Li Fan gave his reason. It's free to ask for information from you. My information is outdated. Mr. Yang laughed bitterly. I haven't left prison for 20 years. What kind of information do you expect me to know? Then, what useful information do you have for Poseidon? Li Fan didn't give up and continued to ask. If I get to the bottom of it, I'll be able to get something. I only know that his ability is water. Mr. Yang said. Back then, his ability was B rank. But now, it should be A rank. This person is very cunning. He won't stop until he reaches his goal. Chapter 591. Mr. Yang could not provide much information, but he was very warm-hearted and told everything he knew to Li Fan. The cruise ship sailed quietly on the sea for a few days. These days were calm and peaceful. After Poseidon greeted them, he never appeared again. He was probably scared out of his wits by Susu's egg-crushing technique. Before he could think of a way to deal with Susu, Poseidon would probably not show up easily. Moreover, Li Fan strengthened Susu's protection. He let Big Dipper stay close to Susu to protect her. Li Fan, escort Li. As they neared the port, Susu seemed to be about to explode. She took advantage of the moment when Li Fan came out of the bathroom and suddenly grabbed him. Big Dipper seemed a little embarrassed. He coughed twice and the old man consciously stood at the corner. It's Susu. You want to attack in the middle of the night? Li Fan could not help but roll his eyes. There's no one in my room. You can come to my room. Who wants to go to your room, bad guy? Susu said angrily. She did not have her usual gentleness. But after all, she was a Suzhou girl. When she scolded someone, she still had that kind of gentle feeling. Then why are you stopping me? You should rest early. It's all because of you that Senior Big Dipper hasn't slept yet. Big Dipper stood to the side and did not say anything. Actually, as a martial artist, he had been standing and sleeping for the past 2 days, guarding Susu's door. You still have the nerve to say that. Susu angrily rolled her eyes at Li Fan. You let an old man protect me all the time. You're cutting my life short. Of course not. Li Fan explained, Senior Big Dipper is a martial artist and an escort. Protecting you is just a small matter. But he's still an old man. We martial artists don't like to be called old. Li Fan reminded Susu. Senior Big Dipper is young and strong. His physical strength is better than you young people. Come on, he's still a senior. Cutting my life short. Susu said discontentedly, besides, I'm not a child anymore. Why do you need to protect me? Can't you just protect Lu Xiaohu? Lu Xiaohu is just a nobody. No one will have any ideas about him. Li Fan said, but you are different. Your ability is too strong, especially for men. You can kill them all. You're a strategic weapon, understand? That's why we have to protect you. I don't want it. This will make me very unhappy. Susu said, I feel awkward letting an old man follow me all the time. Alright, then let Big Brother Flying Dragon protect you. Li Fan said, you have seen his strength, he is very powerful. Once I use Tempest Kick, I'll be able to deal with ordinary mutants. Do you think mutants are everywhere? That you can just grab a handful? Susu glanced at Li Fan. There aren't many mutants left, okay? Especially those powerful mutants with super abilities, there aren't many left. Susu's face turned a little pale as she spoke. Back then, our bureau chief was a mutant with super mental strength. His telekinesis was so strong that he could even stop a train. What the, such a powerful person. Li Fan was stunned when he heard that. However, they all died in the hands of Hunter, Li Fan pondered. If what Mr. Yang said was true, it meant that Hunter was an organization cultivated by various countries. He did not know if there was any support from China, but they did destroy China's own Special Abilities Bureau, China's Shield. Susu, what was the Special Abilities Bureau like at that time? Li Fan suddenly asked a question. The Special Abilities Bureau was very powerful at that time. I heard that even the chairman had to make an appointment to see the bureau chief at that time. Moreover, the people from the Special Abilities Bureau have immunity for murder. They can kill people first before reporting, but not now. Every time I use my ability, I have to make several reports. It's so annoying. I see, Li Fan nodded. Let's not talk about this first. Let Brother Filong protect you from now on. No. Susu shook her head. I'm not very familiar with Brother Filong. I'm sorry. You're on a business trip. Sis, are you going to let Little Four Eyes protect you? Li Fan was helpless. His strength isn't very stable, and he doesn't have much experience. I'm a little worried about him when it comes to protecting people. Forget about Little Four Eyes. He's also someone to be protected. Susu winked at Li Fan. Isn't there another candidate? Oh. You mean Lu Xiaohu? Li Fan nodded. Although he's a little young, he's a good match for you. You deal with men, and he deals with women. Perfect. Fuck you, you indecent guy. Susu rolled her eyes at Li Fan angrily. Then, she reached out and grabbed Li Fan's collar. Because he had just taken a shower, Li Fan was only wearing a pair of cropped pants and a flowery shirt. His chest and lower abdomen muscles were exposed. As Susu grabbed his collar, Li Fan hurriedly said, Hey. What are you doing? Don't force yourself, okay? I'm still a virgin. Go to hell. Susu almost vomited blood. You're such a nuisance. I want you to protect me. Li Fan blinked. Me? Since I'm a nuisance, why do you want me to protect you? Besides, aren't you being too arrogant? You actually want the chief escort to be your guard. How much are you paying? Boss Li, don't talk about money. Don't you think you're too cold? Susu gently pulled Li Fan's arm and whispered in his ear, no matter what, we're comrades, don't say that. We're just working together temporarily. Li Fan winked at Susu. We're doing business. If you want my protection, you'll have to pay more. Profiteer. Susu said angrily. We're all on the same boat. Would it kill me to ask you to protect me? Willful little girl. Li Fan shrugged. $100,000. I'll protect you to Geneva. You're too black-hearted. This is already a friend and family price, okay? Li Fan emphasized. I'm the chief escort of Fifan Escort Agency. Appointing me to protect them will cost at least 200,000 a week. You're a famous prostitute in Jiangnan, so expensive. Susu rolled her eyes. Chief escort, do you understand the meaning of these 3 words? Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at Susu proudly. I fought my way to this position with my own fists. You get what you pay for. Whether you want it or not, I won't force you. Chapter 592. The title of head of escort carried a deep meaning. These 3 words not only represented the leader of the escort agency, but also the strongest. Li Fan's position was built up through his fists. There was no one in the escort agency who did not admire him. Other than Chang Hong, no one was stronger than him in the entire phenomenal escort agency. As for Chang Hong, he was already in his twilight years and was basically in a state of retirement every day. Basically, Li Fan would give Chang Hong a pension every month and would not assign any tasks to him. To Chang Hong, he only had one task, and that was to find his successor. This old man's martial arts, especially his rainbow sword, must be passed down. It would be terrible if the incense line was cut off. 50,000. Susu considered for a long time and suddenly extended 5 fingers. Deal. Li Fan agreed without hesitation. Susu suddenly froze for a moment, then looked at Li Fan in surprise. Are you crazy? You agreed just like that? You're not going to bargain? Haven't we already haggled over the price? Li Fan tilted his head and looked at Susu. You unscrupulous businessman. You're clearly profiting. Susu suddenly recalled something. They were all on the same boat. As long as Li Fan did not disembark, he would definitely protect her. However, he did not need to stay close to her. She was equivalent to giving Li Fan 50,000 for free. Every word is worth 1,000 gold. Li Fan's lips curled into a smile. You're not allowed to go back on your word. Those who go back on their word are dogs. You bastard. Susu was fuming. Li Fan patted her shoulder. Young lady, don't be so hot-tempered. Young people need to be patient. Fuck, you cheated me of 50,000 with just a few words. How can I not be hot-tempered? Susu's eyes were about to roll to the sky. You're a personal bodyguard. 50,000 is not much, right? Besides, you're working at China Shield. How can your salary be low? How do you know my salary is high? Damn, you're a special civil servant of the government. Li Fan immediately emphasized, when I was in school, I read a lot of novels about the Dragon Group. Those government agents can earn hundreds of thousands or even millions a month. Do you think money grows on trees? Susu rolled her eyes. How can we stuff taxpayers' money into our pockets like that? My monthly salary is about 15,000. If you complete a lot of missions, you'll get a year-end bonus. Damn, so little. This surprised Li Fan. My salary as an escort is higher than yours. The salary of the 11 cavalrymen in Yanjing was about 20,000 to 30,000. The Rainbow was a little higher, 40,000 a month. However, if they were to act as bodyguards, they would be able to get a bonus. Therefore, an escort could earn at least 1,000,000 yuan a year. How high do you think our salaries are? If we really had such high salaries, who would be corrupt? Susu said, I saved this 50,000 yuan by living frugally. Okay, I'll give you my Alipay. Li Fan took out his phone. Ah. You want it now? Pay half of the deposit first. This is the rule. Li Fan added Susu as a friend. Come, I'll hand over the money and the person. Tisk. Susu unwillingly transferred 25,000 to Li Fan. Got it. Okay, Senior 7-star, you can go rest. Leave this to me. Li Fan said politely to 7-star. Okay, then I'll go to sleep. 7 Star's temper was very good. He immediately returned to his room and left them alone. Okay, it's time to loosen my collar. My shirt is a famous brand, Balino. It'll be a pity if you ruin it. Li Fan said. Bastard, Susu couldn't help but curse, no matter what, I'm your employer now. You have to listen to me. I'm only responsible for protecting your safety. I don't have to listen to you. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, you just rest in peace. Leave the rest to me. That's more like it. Susu tangled with Li Fan for a while, then I'm going to take a shower. You protect me at the bathroom door. Damn, are you afraid that someone will kill you while you're taking a shower? Li Fan couldn't help but complain. You have to protect this lady. Susu said a little proudly, I paid for it. You have to serve this lady well, understand? Li Fan felt that it sounded a little weird. Fuck, does she still think of me as a lady? Forget it, I've taken someone's money. This 50,000 yuan is not for nothing. Li Fan crossed his arms and stood at the bathroom door, acting as a doorman. The moment Susu stepped in, Lu Xiaohu walked toward the bathroom with a towel in his hand, humming a song. What are you doing? Li Fan stopped him. I'm taking a shower, master. Lu Xiaohu said, this boat is too hot, I'm sweating. Go back to sleep. Li Fan directly drove him back. Why, master, why won't you let me take a shower? Lu Xiaohu was a little unhappy, my body is sticky, it's uncomfortable. Susu is taking a shower, you wait for a while. Sister Susu is taking a shower. Lu Xiaohu's eyes immediately lit up, master. This is a great opportunity. What opportunity? To admire Sister Susu's body. Lu Xiaohu immediately said. Do you have any prospects? As a man, you don't think about making progress every day, but always think about looking at a woman's body. This is a serious matter, master. Lu Xiaohu said in all seriousness, the reason why we humans are divided into men and women is because we have the great mission of carrying on the family line. And you see, our country has a flaw. There has always been a serious flaw in sex education. No one taught me this, I can only learn by myself. Master, look at your disciple's ambition, aren't you touched? Li Fan was so angry that he laughed. He looked at Lu Xiaohu, feeling a bit like his past self. It's just that this kid is too lacking in ambition. If I don't teach him, he might become useless. If you want to see Susu take a shower, you can. Really, master? Thank you so much, master is really benevolent and righteous. Of course it's true, but you have to defeat me first. Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed. What the? Master, you're kidding me. Lu Xiaohu almost collapsed, how can I beat you? Liking women is a man's nature, there's no doubt about it. Li Fan said word by word, but no woman likes a good-for-nothing. Fight for it yourself. Li Fan said, Lu Xiaohu, don't let me look down on you. Chapter 593. Master. You're too much. No matter what, I, Lu Xiaohu, am still a man. Lu Xiaohu said angrily, today, I'll let master know that I, Lu Xiaohu, also have a temper. With that, he stretched out his right hand and spread his fingers at Li Fan. Li Fan was still standing there with his arms crossed. What's the use of making my underwear disappear? Li Fan rolled his eyes at Lu Xiaohu. Other than the fact that your balls are a little cold, is there any other effect? But master. I only know how to do this. Lu Xiaohu lowered his head gloomily. Then go back to sleep. Li Fan said snappily. This kid had kung fu, but he didn't practice it. Instead, he just sat around and waited for death. He actually wanted to accept him as a disciple. What a pity for such a good seedling. Li Fan couldn't help but sigh deeply. Li Fan planned to open a martial arts school. Since he was going to open a martial arts school, it was inevitable that he would accept a disciple. With a martial arts school, there would definitely be a lot of people who would challenge him. Li Fan also had other things to do. He couldn't possibly be busy fighting every day. Therefore, most of the time, the matter of dealing with challengers had to be thrown to his own disciple. He was already the chief escort, so he couldn't do everything by himself. But Lu Xiaohu, this kid was really a hopeless case. Master, go to sleep. Okay, then can I come out later to take a shower? Whatever. Li Fan reprimanded him snappily and watched Lu Xiaohu return to his room unwillingly. Aren't you being a little too harsh on Lu Xiaohu? Susu had just finished her shower. Wrapped in a bath towel, she walked out of the bathroom. Her body was still damp and exuded the unique body fragrance of a girl. Can't you be more careful? Li Fan was speechless. No matter what, I'm still a boy. You dressing up like this is simply a provocation to me. Hee, Boss Li, what do you want to do to me? Susu suddenly thought of something, and the hand that was originally on Li Fan's shoulder slowly retracted. She gently covered her mouth and said, No, Li Fan, I just remembered that I spent money to hire you, so I'm your boss now. You can't be rude to the boss, or it will affect the reputation of your agency in the future. Fuck, Li Fan felt rather helpless. This woman, she was determined to eat him alive. This little girl Susu is not simple. I can't underestimate her. Actually, you're already an adult. If you want to do some shameful things with me, it's not impossible. Susu suddenly threw out another piece of bait, which landed right in front of Li Fan. Li Fan's expression was a little nervous. Damn it, what was this woman going to play this time? Even if it's the boss and the escort. I think, if there's a beautiful love story, perhaps it'll be a very romantic memory. Susu leaned against Li Fan's side and lightly licked her lips. Although she had accepted the temptation of Murong's love for that little girl, Susu's method was a little different. She knew how to provoke a man. Little Li Fan seemed to be impatient to step forward, as if he was ready to go into battle at any time. Susu's rosy lips were right in front of him, carrying a fatal temptation. There was a tender and alluring feeling, waiting for someone to taste it. Li Fan, my mouth is so dry, Susu lightly licked her lips. Li Fan only had one impulse. He suddenly took a step forward and pressed Susu against the wall, causing her to let out a cry of surprise. This woman was in a daze, her cheeks flushed red, as if she was in a trance. However, she stretched out her hands and gently pressed them on Li Fan's shoulders, preventing him from taking another step. Li Fan. If I get emotional, I'll accidentally activate my superpower, fuck. Little Li Fan immediately gave up. These words were too fucking scary. After all, Li Fan was someone who had experienced personal pain. He could endure thousands of arrows piercing his heart, but he couldn't bear the pain of pinching his balls. Susu, did you do it on purpose? Why don't you guess? Susu let out a series of bell-like laughter, then ran into her room. Before closing the door, this girl even poked her little head out and waved at Li Fan, Darling, I'm going to sleep. Humph. Li Fan was really upset. She definitely did it on purpose. This woman was too mischievous. He had to find a chance to teach her a lesson. Li Fan stood at the door of Susu's room, his hands crossed over his abdomen, and entered into a meditative state. Li Fan's current strength was still somewhat lacking. His 7 heroes force had been stuck at the strength of 5 dragons for a long time, and he hadn't made any progress. And his star Luo force was currently stuck at the strength of 4 dragons. Li Fan remembered that he still had the 9 Buddha Sutra in his hand. Although he didn't carry it with him, the contents were imprinted in Li Fan's mind. He recalled the contents and began to practice the martial arts within. This move was called subduing the dragon. He withdrew the 7 heroes' force, and the spirit connecting meridian was cut into the main meridians. Li Fan began to circulate the star Luo power in his body. The true qi in the surrounding air was slowly absorbed into Li Fan's body. However, Li Fan controlled his martial arts to avoid affecting others. He only learned Lu Jinchan's moves to dabble in them, so that he could strengthen his own martial arts. As a martial artist, he must not be complacent and lock himself in a small field. Li Fan realized that this move, subduing the dragon, was somewhat similar to his dragon toad's ingestion of water. Lu Jinchan was indeed a genius. The moves he created were ingenious, and it felt like a stroke of genius. After learning the second move, the second acupoint in Li Fan's spirit-connecting meridian was also broken. The 9 Buddha Sutra also had 9 levels of mental cultivation. After practicing one move, Li Fan unlocked 1 level of mental cultivation. A large amount of true qi gushed out of his dantian, and it merged with the true qi that was absorbed from the surroundings, and hid it in Li Fan's body. The star Luo power originally had the strength of 4 dragons, but at this moment, it also broke through to the strength of 5 dragons. The 2 martial arts were equal. Li Fan slowly exhaled, and then slowly switched his qi back to the state of 7 heroes' force. Li Fan saw that his skin was slowly changing from dark to white. It seemed that when he activated the star Luo power, his skin would also turn black. This showed that this martial art did not seem to be a good martial art. His judgment was probably right. It was better not to use it unless it was absolutely necessary. At this moment, Li Fan heard a faint sound of fighting coming from the deck. He suddenly opened his eyes. It seemed that there were guests on the ship. Chapter 594. Someone would be on duty every night on this cruise ship bound for Geneva. Tonight, it was Bai Linluo's turn to be on duty. He sat on the deck of the cruise ship, looking at the constantly rolling sea, feeling slightly bored. Liao Qianqian, who was wearing a black sky scorpion armor, stood beside him without saying a word, like a statue. According to the requirements of the Special Abilities Bureau's teacher, Bai Linluo maintained the manifestation of the good guy card. Liao Qianqian was an A-class expert, but Bai Linluo was still somewhat puzzled. Why was she called Liao Qianqian instead of Liao Wushuang? Could it be that teacher Liao changed her name? Li Fan had never told Bai Linluo about Liao Qianqian, fearing that Bai Linluo would be hurt. This young man was quite innocent. Teacher Liao, you said that you have a sweetheart, but who is he? Bai Linluo gently adjusted his glasses and glanced at Liao Qianqian, who was standing next to him with a cold expression. He could not help but ask. However, Liao Qianqian was still standing there without saying a word, as if everything around her had nothing to do with her. As the manifestation of the good guy card, Liao Qianqian was just a prop without any emotions or independent thinking ability. Sigh. Speaking of which, you are no different from a robot. Bai Linluo sighed, feeling a bit complicated. The sea breeze was a bit chilly. As if sensing that its master was cold, Liao Qianqian took out a blanket from somewhere and draped it over Bai Linluo. Bai Linluo understood that this was just the good guy card's reaction to its master's physiological function. Since you are so sad, let me end you. Suddenly, a sneer came from behind. Liao Qianqian had already made her move, swinging her rapier and piercing through a wave behind her. A familiar figure stood there. It was Poseidon, who had appeared once before. He had hidden for a long time and finally found an opportunity to kill everyone on the ship while Susu was not around. He would start with Little Four Eyes. Although he was also a mutant, he was not a like-minded person. Therefore, he had to die. In the future, only one type of people could survive in the Gilded Empire, and that was the mutants chosen by God. This Bai Linluo, as a mutant, was actually a lackey of the House of Martial Fighters. He deserved to die. Poseidon waved his hand, and the water around him flowed into his palm, forming the shape of a trident. Clang! The Scorpio warrior Liao Qianqian did not hesitate. She thrust her sword forward and knocked Poseidon's trident away. However, Poseidon had been in hibernation for more than 20 years. His spiritual power had increased significantly. Under his control, a huge wave suddenly rose to the side like a ferocious beast, ready to devour the cruise ship at any time. Ha ha ha, rookie, your summoning ability is incomparable to my nature-type ability. Poseidon laughed. On the sea, I am the true god. As he spoke, the huge wave rose again. In a short while, it had grown to a height of over 100 meters. The dark mass resembled a cage of doomsday. Compared to it, the cruise ship was like a child's toy. At the same time, Liao Qianqian's sword was pressed against Poseidon's throat. The coldness on his throat was bone-chilling. Poseidon subconsciously swallowed his saliva. Stop using your ability. Otherwise, your throat will be pierced before the wave falls. Poseidon swallowed again. This Bai Lin Luo did not seem like a rookie at all. I am indeed a summoner. In terms of destructive power, I may not be as good as you. But in terms of killing, I am not any worse than you. After following Li Fan for so long, Bai Lin Luo had learned from Li Fan's habit of striking first. However, Poseidon could not be killed directly. If he was killed, the huge wave would go out of control and crash down on them. It all depended on Poseidon's choice. Would he live, or would he die with Li Fan? However, Bai Lin Luo believed that after the creator was killed, Poseidon had turned tail and run. Bai Lin Luo did not believe that Poseidon was fanatical about the Golden Empire. How about it? Do you want to die for the Golden Empire? Bai Lin Luo asked again. Poseidon suddenly said, Bai Lin Luo, do you think I am the only one here? As he spoke, a long tongue suddenly flew out of the sea and wrapped around Bai Lin Luo's neck. The tongue was wet and slippery, but it had a terrifying power. It was as if it was going to break Bai Lin Luo's neck. Bai Lin Luo, on the other hand, had lost the ability to breathe, and his face was red. However, Liao Qianqian still pressed her sword firmly against Poseidon's neck. She did not move an inch. You are still holding on. How long do you think you can hold on? Bai Lin Luo, you have no more bargaining chips. It is my turn now. Poseidon said proudly. We mutants are the strongest in this world. God has chosen us. I can give you a chance now. Join the Golden Empire and become one of us. Together, we will build this new great empire. Oh, yes. You cannot speak now. However, you can control your summoner. Make your choice. If you are willing to join us, keep your summoner. Liao Qianqian's sword gently pushed forward, causing a wound to appear on Poseidon's neck. Even so, Bai Lin Luo was still threatening Poseidon. Damn it, looks like you want to die. Poseidon's eyes sharpened. He was ready to kill. But at this moment, a hand suddenly grabbed the tongue. It's a little dirty. Come out and I will help you wash it. No one knew when Li Fan was standing there. With a tug of his hands, he dragged the owner of the tongue up and threw him onto the deck. This person was clearly a human, but he looked like a frog. It seemed like he was a mutant. Oh. A mutant? Li Fan looked at this mutant. There were many types of mutants. For example, Bai Lin Luo was a summoner, Poseidon was a supernatural, Su and Lu Xiaohu were magical, and this frog-like person in front of him was a mutant. Why are you here? Poseidon looked at Li Fan in shock. Are you an idiot? Li Fan rolled his eyes. It was such a big commotion. Even a deaf person could hear it, okay? Li Fan said and pointed to the huge wave next to him. That's ridiculous, he said. Aren't you tired of making such a big wave? I will drown all of you. Poseidon was enraged. He controlled the wave and pushed it down, as if it would swallow the ship in an instant. Chapter 595. Liao Qianqian thrust the rapier in her hand at the same time. The rapier pierced through Poseidon's throat, but he quickly turned into liquid and dodged the fatal blow. Poseidon's body reappeared beside her, but there was still a wound on his throat. He had clearly been hit. If Poseidon had not used water pressure to stabilize his injury, he would have died from blood loss. Poseidon clutched the wound on his neck, but he laughed triumphantly. Die, all of you die. Let this wave swallow you bunch of trash. Poseidon roared. Li Fan stood there, raised his head, and looked at the huge waves falling from the sky. This was a crisis. Humans were indeed helpless in the face of such a powerful natural disaster. Then let me see if humans can defeat the heavens. The great god of war appeared behind Li Fan. The great god of war kept waving his palms at the huge wave, unleashing one palm strike after another. The Bear King seal was unleashed continuously, and the waves splashed again and again. But the waves were too big, so big that Poseidon could not control them. He could only let the waves fall and swallow everything. Disaster and death seemed to be coming at any moment. Bai Lin Luo was also stunned. He did not know how to deal with this disaster. All he could hear was the sound of the waves, mixed with Poseidon's maniacal laughter. Li Fan suddenly took a deep breath. The great god of war stopped attacking and returned to his body. Bai Lin Luo was a little surprised. Did Li Fan give up? He was a martial artist. His body was strong, and he had the protection of true qi. This huge wave would not be able to kill him, but it could kill everyone else on the ship. Give up on everyone and live on alone? Impossible. This was not Li Fan's character. Sure enough, Li Fan looked at the huge wave that was already over his head and suddenly took a deep breath. His chest began to expand, and his shirt fluttered in the wind. The muscles on his chest looked like they were about to explode. Roar! Li Fan let out a long roar, like a shocking clap of thunder, soaring into the sky. The true qi in his body was released in one breath as if it was free. At that moment, Li Fan felt like he was a cannon. Jinqi was his cannonball. Boom! It was as if a clap of thunder had exploded in the sky. Li Fan's roar directly blasted a huge hole in that monstrous wave. Sound wave versus ocean wave. Li Fan won. Huge waves slammed into the surroundings, causing the entire ship to shake violently. As for Li Fan, he swallowed a soul-restoring pill that Bai Lin Luo had given him. He took a deep breath and stepped on the cruise ship with both of his feet, forcefully stabilizing the cruise ship in the waves. Poseidon was dumbfounded. He even forgot to cover his wound and let the blood flow freely. Is this still a human? Breaking 100-meter-tall wave with just one shout. Fukyuma. Oh my god, Poseidon did not dare to show off anymore. He turned around and was about to jump into the water to escape when Li Fan used the dragon toad's ingestion of water to pull him in front of him. Trying to escape? You'll have to see if I'll let you. Li Fan said as he used the crane strike on Poseidon's acupuncture point. Even if he was a foreigner, his body structure was the same as that of a Chinese. It was the same for every acupuncture point. Poseidon had just released the monstrous wave and was at his weakest, so Li Fan's crane strike stopped him. What? What the hell is this? Poseidon could only use his mouth to speak, but his body could not move at all. What was this? Magic? Poseidon felt like his world was being destroyed. Wasn't this guy a martial artist? How could he have a special ability like body lock? But now, Li Fan did not give him time to think. He grabbed both of them and threw them into the cabin. What's wrong? What's wrong? Seeing Li Fan throw the two living people into the cabin, Susu and the rest ran out. Discovering that both of them were mutants, Susu took out two collars and put them around their necks without saying a word. What's this? When Li Fan saw the collar, he could not help but be surprised. This is the Zero Collar, Susu explained. It's used to temporarily seal the mutant's abilities. There's such a thing. How does it work? Li Fan was a bit surprised. Oh, it's actually able to sense mutants using their superpowers. Susu quickly said. When mutants use their superpowers, they will release a special type of brain wave. When the collar senses the brain wave, it will explode the mutant's head with a bang. Fuck. This thing is a bit too much, Li Fan was surprised. What if someone else uses their superpowers and the collar senses it? The brain wave is very weak. You can only sense it if you're very close. The neck is the best position. Susu shrugged. But if they're really affected by it, then they're unlucky. Susu. Have you ever thought that you're also a mutant? Li Fan reminded her. Do you want to be treated like this one day? I'm different from them. Their superpowers are used to kill people. Susu gritted her teeth. These people, they're the scum of the mutants. Don't ever compare me to them. Otherwise, I'll be angry. Okay, Li Fan had no other choice. Since these two people are indeed dangerous, he'll just use the collar to restrain them. Poseidon, you heard me. My seal on you won't last too long. You'll be able to move in about 10 seconds. But if you dare to use your superpowers, I won't be able to save you. I won't. I know this collar. Poseidon was not stupid. Poseidon was not an idiot. He said obediently, I am now a captive. You are Chinese. Please treat your captives well. Okay, as long as you tell me everything I want to know, I'll naturally treat you well. Poseidon was silent for a moment. Mr. Yang, who was sitting in the glass room, stared at them with interest. Come, come, come. Look, this is the Mr. Yang that you've been dreaming about. Li Fan threw Poseidon in front of the glass, letting him have intimate contact with Mr. Yang. I'm going to kill you. Kill you. Poseidon gritted his teeth through the window, as if he wanted to tear Mr. Yang apart. Li Fan walked over from behind and kicked him in the butt, causing him to fall to the ground. Behave yourself. You're in my territory and you're still so cocky. I have an irreconcilable grudge against this person. Poseidon was kicked to the ground by Li Fan, so he became a little more obedient. However, he still spoke angrily. Yo, that's a good idiom. Li Fan clapped his hands. Tell me, what grudge do you have against him? Chapter 596. If it wasn't for him, the Golden Empire would not have fallen to this state. Poseidon seemed to hate Mr. Yang. He could not help but growl, that traitor. He betrayed us and the Creator. No, no, no. You're mistaken. However, Mr. Yang was very calm and content. He did not look like a prisoner at all. Instead, he looked like a guest invited by Li Fan and the others. I never said that I was one of you. You just thought too highly of yourselves. The conversation between the two of them was simple, but Li Fan understood a little. It turned out that this Mr. Yang had been a spy for a while in the past. Traitor. There's no use quibbling. Now that the four horsemen of the apocalypse have reunited, the Creator is preparing to return. Your doomsday is coming. The Creator is dead. His body has been divided among the big countries. Mr. Yang's face showed no fear. I saw it with my own eyes. The dead can't be resurrected. The dead can't be resurrected, but he's the great Creator. Poseidon said excitedly. He can create miracles. He can rebuild the Golden Empire. The people of the Golden Empire haven't changed after 20 years. They still like to daydream. Fuck. You bastard. If you hadn't betrayed the Creator, this world would have been ours. No, no, no. The world is big. We will always be the pawns of the gods, Mr. Yang said calmly. Mr. Yang lightly said, only the gods can determine the laws of this world. Those of us who are infected should have been killed long ago. You should be happy now. Poseidon laughed coldly. You saved these people, and now they want to execute you. So what? I didn't save them for them to repay me. Mr. Yang was very determined. He was not affected by Poseidon's words. I'm just carrying out the mission that the gods gave me. As for whether humans will be grateful to me, what does that have to do with me? You're a big idiot. Poseidon scolded. Li Fan was amused. So, you came all the way here just to kill this Mr. Yang? Li Fan asked. No. I didn't do it to kill him. I did it to take him away. Poseidon glared angrily at Mr. Yang on the other side of the glass. This man is still useful to the creator. Isn't your creator omnipotent? What does he need this traitor for? Li Fan wanted to get more information out of him. Don't believe him. The creator is already dead. I saw it with my own eyes. Mr. Yang immediately said, he was divided into 6 parts, China, America, England, Greece, Japan, and Germany. Each of them got a part. How could a person who was split into 6 pieces still be alive? You'll know soon enough. At that time, all of you will have to repent. Poseidon said. I am just a vanguard. Soon, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse will descend personally. Sure, I want to meet the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The strongest of the 4 mutants. It was said that all 4 of them were S-class experts. Although Li Fan was a martial arts fanatic, he liked to dabble in other schools of thought. Fighting against mutant experts, experience was also very valuable. You won't be able to reach Geneva, Poseidon predicted. Poseidon made a prophecy. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse will end you before then. You captured me and Mr. Yang. They will definitely come for you. In the end, a few days later, Poseidon was completely slapped in the face. The legendary 4 horsemen of the apocalypse did not appear even once. Li Fan put the 3 of them into cages and transported them to the dock. A group of special forces from Geneva were in charge of welcoming them. These special forces warriors were all wearing silver-white armor with the national emblem of Geneva printed on their chests. Knights of the Holy Light. Susu said to Li Fan, these people are Orthodox knights. There are not many of them. I heard that the armor they are wearing is a holy weapon that has been blessed by the Pope. These people dressed as knights were all very arrogant. There was a kind of nobility and arrogance in their eyes. Imperceptibly, they created a distance between them and Li Fan. The leader was a man with blonde hair. His silver armor had beautiful golden roses embroidered on it. This man walked elegantly in front of Li Fan and said frivolously. It wasn't easy for a motley crew like you to escort them here. He gently covered his nose with a handkerchief as if Li Fan and the others were emitting the smell of the plague. Your mission ends here. Go home. Now, hand over the 3 of them to us, the Knights of the Holy Light. No, Susu hurriedly said to Li Fan, we can't just give them to them. If anything goes wrong, it will definitely be our fault. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Li Fan said with his hands behind his back, standing in front of the blonde man. Sorry, we didn't receive such an order. My job is to send this war criminal to the court of justice. Fool, with us, the Knights of the Holy Light here, do we still need the help of rookies like you? The blonde man frowned and looked at Li Fan with some disgust. We, the Knights of the Holy Light, all of us have noble knight blood. Things like judging evil are naturally done by us. Hurry up and leave, there's nothing for you here. Sorry, we are Fiefan Escort Agency. We are responsible for delivering the goods to the required places according to the employer's requirements. Li Fan said with a chuckle. In this period of time, no matter who obstructs us, they will be our enemy. As he spoke, both Big Dipper and Fei Long took a step forward and stood in front of the cage. How dare you? These 20 silver-armored knights all pulled out their swords and pointed them at Li Fan and the others. What, drawing your swords just because of a disagreement? Li Fan's smile deepened. Sure, let's have a fight. You decide. Outrageous, how dare you make an enemy out of us, the Knights of the Holy Light. The golden-haired man was so angry that his entire body trembled. He pointed a finger at Li Fan. Killing you people will dirty our armor. Fuck, who the fuck are you? What are you bragging about? Because the blonde man had been speaking in English, Lu Xiaohu understood. He finally could not take it anymore and reached out to the blonde man. A lacy thong appeared in his hand and he threw it to the ground. Fuck, you're still a pervert. This time, the blonde man's face changed and he immediately pulled out his golden-laid sword. Chapter 597. For the golden-haired man, the leader of the Holy Light Knights, Carlos, his life can only be described with one word: arrogance. Unparalleled status, powerful strength, these are all capital that makes him proud. He leads the entire knight group, everyone has to be respectful when they see him. Even the chairman of the Human Joint Military Committee in Geneva has to be polite when talking to him. And this Chinese monkey in front of him, who does he think he is, actually dares to treat him like this. Carlos' unique hobby was something that no one in the Knights Guild knew about. But now, everyone knows. Carlos is furious. At this moment, all the self-restraint he learned has been fed to the dogs. Right now, he only wants to do one thing, that is to kill that Chinese monkey and feed him to the fishes. This usually elegant leader pulls out his golden-laid sword, unable to restrain his anger, and slashes at Lu Xiaohu's head. Although Lu Xiaohu has some special abilities, his body is still that of an ordinary person. He only sees a flash of golden light, and that great sword is already above his head. Dang! But with Fei Long and 7-star here, there is no chance for Carlos to hurt anyone. 7-star's punch knocked Carlos's sword askew, shocking Carlos. This old man is already so old, but he can knock my sword askew with his fist. I have been practicing swordsmanship since I was 5 years old, and I have the protection of the Holy Light. The leader of the Holy Light Knights group is not for nothing. A person like me, it is hard to find a worthy opponent in the world. But this old man, where did he come from? Carlos looks at 7-star a few more times. And all the knights behind him have already raised their swords, looking like they are ready to fight at any moment. Leader Carlos, we are from the Shield of China, and these few are also friends of the Shield of China. Susu knows that if she doesn't say anything, the matter will probably get out of hand. If you speak rudely to our China again, I'm afraid it will escalate to a diplomatic incident. I wonder if His Excellency Carlos is able to shoulder this responsibility. Humph. Carlos tidies up his long hair, and then sheathes his sword. Humph, rejoice. If you were my enemy, your heads would have been separated from your bodies by now. You are quite a violent person. Li Fan chuckled. I'm not as hot-tempered as you. If you were my enemy, you would be looking for your teeth all over the floor. No, it should be looking for your underwear all over the floor. Courting death. Carlos's hand was on the hilt of his sword again, and Susu hurriedly stopped the fight. All right, Li Fan, you should talk less. The mission is more important. Don't worry, I have a good temper. Li Fan stood at the side with his hands behind his back. I won't lower myself to your level. Carlos clearly did not understand what 2-to-1 meant. He asked Li Fan, what do you mean by 2-to-1? It means to call him a noble. Oh, then I am indeed a fool. Remember, we will always be different. Understand your identities. Lu Xiaohu couldn't hold back his laughter anymore. He couldn't stop laughing. Carlos was not a fool. He immediately understood. Bastard! Are you scolding me on purpose? How can you accuse people unjustly? Li Fan would never admit it. His scoundrel appearance made Carlos want to kill someone. Don't worry, we will settle this score slowly. In the end, Carlos swallowed his anger. These damned Chinese monkeys. In this place, they wouldn't be able to be arrogant for long. By the way, are there no normal people besides you who received us? Li Fan asked as he escorted Mr. Yang and the others away. It's your honor that I came in person. Carlos snorted coldly. All right, pretend I didn't ask anything. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders helplessly. This person had his eyes on the top of his head. He probably thought that he was the most honorable person in the world. Although Yan Kai was also quite arrogant, he was definitely not to this extent. It was too scary. This kind of person was destined to have no friends. Master. When are we going back? When Lu Xiaohu first came to Geneva, it was still very fresh. But seeing that the people here were so unfriendly and the language barrier, he soon got sick of it. So he couldn't help but get closer to Li Fan and asked. We'll leave after we've sent these notorious fellows to court. Li Fan asked, why, you don't like this place? Aren't there a lot of beautiful foreign women? These Caucasian women are boring. Our Chinese girls are still more tender. Lu Xiaohu was young, but he pretended to be a veteran pervert and kept commenting. Many people have a good figure, they have breasts and buttocks. Li Fan said and subconsciously glanced at Susu, unlike some girls. Endless. How can this child drink milk in the future? You want to have no descendants, Li Fan, do you want to have a taste of having no descendants? Susu smiled, stretched out her right hand toward Li Fan, and pinched the air. Lu Xiaohu and Li Fan had goosebumps at the same time. Damn, this is too scary. Let's not. I suddenly feel that Susu's figure is also quite good. That's right, Sister Susu is so graceful, so many men want to pursue Sister Susu. If I were 5 years older, I would definitely chase Sister Susu. The two of them began to talk to each other. You too, are you doing a crosstalk? Susu's mood became a little better, rolled her eyes, and then coquettishly said, go to the side, I am annoyed to see you too. Everyone, calm down, don't quarrel and hurt the harmony. Mr. Yang was locked in the cage, but he was very calm as he spoke slowly. You are quite calm. Li Fan glanced at Mr. Yang, you are about to be tried, and it is very likely to be a public execution, aren't you afraid? I have already given my life to the gods. There was no fear on Mr. Yang's face, and his eyes were like still water. For me, death is not scary, what is scary is not being able to complete the task of the gods. Moreover, the trial of mortals is meaningless to me. They don't understand me, so why should I care about what they think? You are either a great good person or a great evil person. Li Fan looked at Mr. Yang, and a chill ran down his spine. If I were to choose, I really don't want to be your enemy. Brotherly, you speak too highly of me. Mr. Yang laughed, after all, if I were to choose, I also don't want to be your enemy. Smart people want to be your friend. With that, he glanced at Carlos intentionally or unintentionally, I only want to be your enemy if it's 2-1. Chapter 598. Carlos felt that today was not going well for him. He was supposed to escort a mortal, but he, the honorable leader of the Knights of Holy Light, had to do it himself. Not only that, these ignorant Huaxia monkeys had provoked him time and time again. If not for the fact that he did not want to bear the responsibility of diplomacy, Carlos would have slaughtered them all long ago. In the World Joint Military Committee, his position was supreme. These Chinese monkeys were ignorant and inexperienced. How dare they provoke me? He was a high and mighty aristocrat. He did not need to lower himself to the level of these ants. After the trial, they would have to leave obediently. And these small characters were destined to have no interaction with the honorable him in the future. Carlos suppressed his anger and escorted them to their seats in the courtroom. The army in Geneva was on high alert. They knew that Mr. Yang was coming and had already sealed off the surrounding roads. They even sent 4 tanks and 2 armed helicopters up and down, inside and outside, to clear the way for Mr. Yang. Many people surrounded them. Some of them looked at the Knights of Holy Light with eyes full of worship. Some stared at Mr. Yang and glared at him. Some looked at Li Fan and pointed at them, seemingly curious about Li Fan's identity. Why are there some Chinese? They seem to be the guards who escorted the prisoner here. We are already here. With the Knights of Holy Light here, why would we still need them? I don't know. They probably want to take the opportunity to make their presence known. These Chinese actually came to snatch the honor from the Knights of Holy Light. They really can't think straight. The mockery of the surrounding people reached Li Fan's ears. Li Fan, on the other hand, was very calm. He crossed his arms and followed behind. Lu Xiaohu's patience was obviously running out. He angrily walked on the road and constantly displayed his special ability to the surrounding crowd. Ah! OMG! So cool. Unsheath, Kirin arm. The surrounding people kept exclaiming and had all kinds of reactions. Lu Xiaohu, on the other hand, was enjoying it and kept on using his abilities. But Li Fan pressed his hand down. Lu Xiaohu looked up in surprise. What's wrong, master? Someone found you. Li Fan saw Carlos intentionally or unintentionally glancing in his direction. This narcissistic guy, his strength was also pretty good. These Knights of Holy Light were neither mutants nor martial artists, but they seemed to have cultivated some kind of strange energy, similar to the true Qi of Huaxia. He didn't know who would be stronger if they fought. However, Lu Xiaohu was indeed too weak. He had brought him out in one piece, so naturally, he had to bring him back in one piece. What are you afraid of? Master, you're so powerful. With you as my backer, I'm not afraid of anyone. If a man says something like that, women will look down on you. Li Fan immediately reprimanded him. Master, times have changed. Women nowadays only liked men with money or good looks. Firstly, I have no money, and secondly, I have no face. I can only be thick-skinned. So I don't expect them to like me. Lu Xiaohu said with a straight face, a man should know his place. But speaking of which, I didn't expect myself to have superpowers. Sigh, if only my superpower was invisibility. Invisibility? What's the use of it? If I could be invisibility, I could sneak in front of the prettiest girl in the class, and while she's taking a shower, I could give it a good swipe. Li Fan couldn't help but shake his head. This Lu Xiaohu was indeed a super Luther. If he had even a little bit of ambition, then he would really have seen a ghost. I really didn't expect that the United Nations Military Committee would send out such a big force for me. Mr. Yang sat in the cage and looked at the big scene around him. He couldn't help but laugh. This kind of treatment, even if a country's president came personally, he might not get it. It's enough to show how important you are, Mr. Yang. Li Fan said with a smile. How can a president be compared to Mr. Yang? Brother Li, you're flattering me. I, Mr. Yang, know my own weight. Mr. Yang doesn't have to worry about it. Li Fan said with a smile. In Mr. Yang's heart, they're just some ants. What they do is not important to you, Mr. Yang. No, ants, I didn't say that. Mr. Yang reminded Li Fan. This is what my brother next door said. Poseidon sat in the next cell, crestfallen and listless. His superpower had been destroyed, and he was no different from an ordinary person. He couldn't leave this cage. This was definitely a big blow to the usually all-powerful Poseidon. His other frogman companion also sat next to him in a daze, not saying a word. My enemies are only mutants, Mr. Yang said calmly. I'm cleaning the world's viruses for the gods, not for anyone else. You idiot. Poseidon couldn't help but curse. Look at what you've done. Why are you still yelling here? Do you see, you'll end up the same as us. You'll be executed soon. That's right, you'll be executed soon. Carlos heard their conversation. He didn't even turn his head as he said arrogantly, you've committed crimes against humanity. What awaits you is only death. Rejoice, death can redeem you. Only the gods can redeem us. Mr. Yang immediately retorted. People like you only live in your own world. You'll never understand what it means to have faith. Don't try to provoke me. Carlos chuckled. I have good self-restraint, and I won't dirty my sword with your blood. Is that so? Let's wait and see. Mr. Yang sat down again and closed his eyes to rest. Brother Wyvern, Senior Big Dipper. Li Fan instructed the two of them. I'll have to trouble the two of you to keep an eye on them. I have a bad feeling about this. You're too paranoid. Susu rolled her eyes. This is the United Nations Military Commission, where experts gather. Moreover, these Knights of Holy Light aren't vegetarians. They're similar to you martial artists. You martial fighters train in true Qi, but they train in a type of Do Qi, which can also strengthen their bodies. The world was big, and there were all sorts of strange things. Li Fan was a little curious. What was the difference between vital energy and combat energy? He looked at Carlos and couldn't help but lick his tongue. He had a desire to fight. Oh my God, Lu Xiaohu covered his mouth with his hand. What's wrong? Master, you can't just ignore the flowers and only love chrysanthemums, fuck off. Chapter 599. This Lu Xiaohu, his head is always filled with all sorts of nonsense every day. Li Fan patted his head and continued to escort Mr. Yang. The rest of the journey was peaceful. Mr. Yang seemed to have been abandoned. No one came to find trouble with him. The name of the Knights of Holy Light seemed to have scared off a lot of people. And the United Nations Military Commission seemed to have intentionally arranged this parading action. Mr. Yang was notorious and his reputation spread far and wide. Even a child here saw him as a devil, spitting and cursing at him. The scene was shocking. However, Mr. Yang was unmoved. He was taken out of the prison van. Two Knights of Holy Light came over and escorted Mr. Yang into the courtroom. Li Fan, Susu, and the rest followed behind. They had to see Mr. Yang being taken to the courtroom with their own eyes. Mr. Yang was still calm. He walked into the courtroom and stood in front of everyone. The judge and jury were all seated. The Knights of Holy Light were in charge of maintaining discipline. Li Fan, Susu, and the rest were also sitting at the side, waiting to watch this trial of the century. There were 8 cameras facing the courtroom. This was a live broadcast. The trial of this famous war criminal was about to be held. Kai Yang. The judge said a bunch of statements, then looked at Mr. Yang and called out his name. Today is a special and fair trial. Li Fan's English was quite good. He could understand most of it. The judge paused and continued, you can hire a lawyer to defend you. No need. I will defend myself. Mr. Yang stood in the courtroom. He was high-spirited. He did not look like a person who was about to be judged. Instead, he looked like a judge who was here to judge others. Li Fan rubbed his eyes. This Mr. Yang was a bit too powerful. Are you sure? You want to give up the right to find another lawyer? The judge asked again. Yes, I'm sure. Mr. Yang nodded. The judge continued, well then, you will be tried for crimes against humanity. Do you plead guilty? That won't do. I have never done such a thing. You can't just come up with a crime and pin it on my head. This kind of behavior is anti-civilization. Forgive me, but I cannot accept it. Kai Yang, you don't need to quibble, we have evidence in our hands. As the prosecutor spoke, he turned on the screen next to him and displayed some images and a list of names. Peter, 20 years old, Englishman, died at your hands on his birthday. Lawrence, 38 years old, American. He was traveling with his wife when he was killed by you. Also, the Knights of the Round Table from England. 13 Knights of the Round Table were poisoned by you and your men. The Shield of China, more than 30 mutants, were massacred by you. Just a few days ago, one of your butchers killed more than 10 innocent researchers from the Huaxia Shield. Are these crimes not enough to convict you? When these cases were listed, the jury members immediately whispered and looked at Mr. Yang with even more hatred. Young man, before you put me on trial, you should have more evidence. Kai Yang said, taking out this kind of evidence, you are really too irresponsible. Still trying to mislead the public? These pieces of evidence were all carefully gathered by me. The prosecutor immediately said, I can use my career to swear that every piece of evidence I have gathered is true and trustworthy. There is not the slightest bit of falsehood. Young man, what are you so excited about? Look at you, your face is red and your neck is thick. It is not good to anger yourself. In court, be more serious. The judge immediately banged his gavel. Kai Yang, do you have any defense? It is not a defense, but a statement of facts. Kai Yang said as he stretched out his hand and pointed at the first youth on the screen. Peter, English, 20 years old. He awakened his ability when he was 19 years old. When he had just obtained his ability, in order to test his strength, he killed an entire class of classmates. That's right, he was celebrating his 20th birthday and begged me to let him go. However, when he killed his classmates, he probably didn't listen to their pleas. Kai Yang's words not only stunned the prosecutor, but also stunned everyone present. Also, Lawrence, 38 years old, yes, American, loves his wife. Oh, that's not right, you can't say it like that, because this woman is not his wife, but someone else's wife. Lawrence's superpower is to brainwash others. This woman thinks that he is her husband, so she is dead set on following him. However, this is not his first wife. Before this, there were more than 20 families that were broken up by him in this way. That's right, Lawrence has a hobby, he likes to collect the skulls of his previous wives and make them into art. That's right, you went to this person's house to investigate, right? Did you see the shelf where he collected his art? What do you think of the display? The prosecutor felt that he was a bit speechless. That's right, you just mentioned the Knights of the Round Table, right? Kai Yang said with a smile, 20 years ago, there was a small town in the Middle East. The townspeople were simple and honest, but they were too kind. They were so kind that they took in a group of terrorists. In order to exterminate them, the Knights of the Round Table and China's Shield jointly dispatched experts and slaughtered everyone in the town. Because they didn't know who was an ordinary person and who was a terrorist. So, they simply killed them all and put an end to it. You're talking nonsense. The prosecutor couldn't sit still, you actually told such a big lie. There is no information left on this matter. After all, I am that terrorist from that year. Mr. Yang smiled. His smile sent shivers down everyone's spine. What he said, was it all true? If it was, then it was really too scary. This simply subverted the worldview of most people. Prosecutor, what did you just say? Mr. Yang looked at the young prosecutor calmly. Yes, I killed a lot of people, and my hands are stained with a lot of blood. I have committed crimes against humanity, you can try me. Then, those people I just mentioned, who can try them? For a moment, the courtroom was so silent that even a pin drop could be heard. China's Shield did such a thing. He turned his head and glanced at Su Su, but Su Su also shook her head repeatedly. How could she know such a long time ago? Chapter 600. In China, there is an old saying, if you don't shock people, don't stop until you say it. Mr. Yang said slowly, although my words are shocking, they are not fake at all. I am indeed guilty, and my sin is very serious. But I'm really sorry, my crime is not being against humanity, but having superpowers. What happened 20 years ago, no one knows, so you can say whatever you want. The young prosecutor suddenly came to his senses, pointed at Mr. Yang, and said loudly, you made up these things to confuse the public. I'm sorry, I don't need to. Mr. Yang stood on the bench, his voice calm. Yang, have never killed an innocent person. There are many innocent mutants, they have never done anything bad, but you did not let them go. The prosecutor wiped his cold sweat, and then said, "Well done, my dear attorney, and the honorable jury, and the impartial judge." Mr. Yang said slowly, "I just want to ask you one thing, if a powerful and mighty wild tiger lived in your house every day, would you feel safe?" Everyone looked at each other. "Those mutants, they are the tigers that live beside us. Don't you understand, these people have a power that we cannot control, if they want to kill us, we have no ability to fight back. Are you defending yourself for killing innocent people? If you are a hunter, you walk on the grassland, and you see a tiger walking towards you, what would you do?" Mr. Yang asked, "Would you go up and make friends with him, or would you shoot him to death?" The prosecutor began to panic, he did not expect Mr. Yang to be so eloquent. Moreover, a lot of the people in the jury seemed to have begun to agree with Mr. Yang. He is sophistry. Li Fan lowered his voice and said to Susu, "We are not hunters, and the mutants are not tigers. He is using sophistry to make us follow his train of thought." I just almost agreed with him. Susu was a little more clear-headed after hearing what Li Fan said. "So, not only should you not judge me, but you should thank me." Mr. Yang continued, "I saved you. Now it's your turn to save yourselves." His voice rose an octave. "You should pass a bill to judge mutants and imprison all mutants. If you don't want to kill them, then take away their freedom until you can eliminate the mutated genes in their bodies." Everyone was stunned when they heard the bill. Some even began to nod slowly. Mutants possess supernatural powers. Indulging them is equivalent to murdering yourselves. I am a sinner, I accept any judgment. But it's time for you to save yourselves. Go find every mutant around you. Capture them and kill them. Otherwise, you'll be the ones to die. All the people in the court were in an uproar. Silence. The judge finally hit the gavel in his hand, and the court slowly quieted down. No matter how you quibble, your sins are unforgivable. The judge said to Mr. Yang, "Let the jury convict you. As a judge, I don't want to hear any more from you." The judge himself felt that if he had heard more, he might have changed his mind. This was too scary. "I am guilty, and I am willing to die here." Mr. Yang interrupted the judge, "But before I die, I have one more thing to do." "What is it?" The judge was puzzled, but Mr. Yang smiled, "It's to let you know how scary mutants are." As he spoke, he pointed at his temple. "My superpower is synesthesia. I can share my memory with others. At the same time, I can also use my thoughts to control a person whose memory I have shared." Li Fan was stunned. Susu and Bai Lin Luo looked at him subconsciously. "Now, I am using my superpower to murder you." Then, Mr. Yang pointed to Li Fan, "Brotherly, please be my puppet for a while." While speaking, Li Fan could no longer control his body. He jumped to Mr. Yang's side. "Get out of my way!" Li Fan shouted at the jury in front of him. Before the jurors could react, Li Fan had already raised his hand and slapped. Bang! More than half of the jurors were smashed into pieces by Li Fan's slap. The rest of the people screamed and ran away in panic. "Damn it! Do you think that we, the Knights of Holy Light, don't exist?" Carlos of the Knights of Holy Light roared. He held a golden-laid greatsword in one hand and a shield in the other as he pounced toward Mr. Yang. The other Knights of Holy Light around him also pulled out their swords and charged toward Mr. Yang. But Mr. Yang was smiling and did not move. Li Fan stood there, turned his body, and kicked out a gust of wind. The Knights of Holy Light were swept away one after another, and Carlos was slapped on the shield by Li Fan. His entire body flew backward and fell to the side. "Damn it, then I'll kill you first." Carlos did not take Li Fan seriously at all. He pointed at Li Fan with his long sword. "Knights of Holy Light, listen up. Kill Li Fan." "Yes." The surrounding Knights of Holy Light adjusted their formation again. Everyone aimed their long swords at Li Fan and charged toward Li Fan together. They all had noble bloodlines and were the noblest knights. Carlos believed that as long as they were here, killing this bunch of Chinese monkeys would be a piece of cake. But he miscalculated. Li Fan slapped the ground, and the floor began to tremble, causing the surrounding knights to lose their footing. And at this moment, Li Fan's body seemed to bring out a black afterimage. He wandered among these knights, and every time he punched them in the chest, shattering their armor and hearts at the same time. Although these knights were also very powerful, none of them were a match for Li Fan. No, it's impossible. Carlos was shocked. He pointed his long sword at Li Fan and roared, "You actually committed such a crime. I'm going to execute you." He, this is the power of a mutant. Mr. Yang still stood there calmly, as if the massacre in front of him was just a movie. This is the price of underestimating a mutant. Now that you know the price, you won't make the same mistake again. Enough, stop. Li Fan berated, I will not be anyone's puppet. Chapter 601. It's not my intention to force Brother Li. Mr. Yang stood on the judge's seat without any expression on his face, as if his heart was as still as water. However, in order to save these people, some sacrifices are inevitable. Senior Big Dipper, Brother Flying Dragon, stop me. Li Fan ordered. By Lin Luo, protect Su Su and Lu Xiaohu. Everyone received the order and immediately acted. Liao Qianqian, who was always by Lin Luo's side, immediately pulled out her sword and protected Lu Xiaohu and Su Su. While Big Dipper and Flying Dragon did not hesitate. After receiving the order, they immediately attacked Li Fan. Big Dipper was a long-range cannon, while Flying Dragon was a strategic weapon. Their strategy was simple. Flying Dragon jumped forward and displayed his exquisite leg technique to fight against Li Fan, while Big Dipper stood behind and used Big Dipper fist technique to support. When the two of them cooperated, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Ordinary experts could only obediently admit defeat. Flying Dragon's leg technique was indeed powerful. His kicks were as swift and violent as a whip. Li Fan used Crane Hand to slap away Flying Dragon's leg time and time again. Moreover, he stood in front of Flying Dragon, using Flying Dragon's body to block Big Dipper's line of sight. Big Dipper stood there and watched the two of them fight. He did not even have the chance to punch. Big Dipper, attack Mr. Yang. Li Fan immediately ordered. Yes. Big Dipper did not hesitate and immediately punched Mr. Yang. Bang! Li Fan's body moved and blocked in front of Big Dipper's fist. His body was protected by an aura shield, but his shoulders still had a fist mark. Brother Li, there's something I forgot to tell you. With a smile on his face, Mr. Yang said slowly, if I die while I'm controlling you, I'll be able to kill you. Then, my mind will always be on your body. In other words, I will live on your behalf. Li Fan frowned. Although he did not know if what Mr. Yang said was true or not, the threat was not weak. Things like superpowers were really hard to say. They were originally a type of mental power. If Mr. Yang died, and his spiritual power continued to affect me, it would be terrible. What you're doing won't do you any good. Li Fan endured the pain in his shoulder and said with a frown. No, I am a martyr. Mr. Yang's eyes were calm. I will use my death to draw a real warning line for humanity. As Mr. Yang spoke, his eyes fell on the chairman of the Joint Military Commission. How dare you? Carlos noticed Mr. Yang's gaze. He immediately picked up his sword and shield and stood in front of the president. The chairman of the Joint Military Commission was the highest-ranking officer of the Joint Military Commission. He was sitting here today to judge Mr. Yang. Protect the chairman of the Military Council. Li Fan also noticed Mr. Yang's thoughts. 7 Star and Fei Long immediately retreated to the old man's side to protect him. You've angered me. Carlos threw the shield to the side and held his golden-laid sword with both hands. Suddenly, his body emitted a white aura. Li Fan's heart trembled. Sure enough, this aura is coming. Carlos' doqi wrapped around his body, increasing his fighting strength by a lot. Li Fan was also an expert and could roughly see the mystery of this aura. This aura and true energy had the same effect, but true energy was hidden in the dantian and circulated in the meridians. It was released from within and took the reserved route. As for this aura, it was cultivated from the flesh and was usually hidden in the muscles. When needed, it would be released from the muscles and covered one's body, greatly strengthening one's physical strength. Two kinds of power, although one was reserved, the other was released. One strengthened the 5 internal organs, the other molded the flesh, but in a certain aspect, they had the same effect. For example, the people of the Yen Jing 11 cavalry learned qi condensation, which was to condense true energy on the body, which could also strengthen the flesh. Therefore, the two kinds of martial arts reached the same goal by different means. Carlos swung his hand, and his battle aura and sword aura were sandwiched together, quickly sweeping toward Li Fan. However, Li Fan didn't even use his hero's sword. He directly swept his leg and kicked out with a half-moon wave, breaking Carlos's battle aura. What Mr. Yang controlled was his own thoughts. He even knew the secrets of each of his moves. Li Fan's heart sank. This Mr. Yang's control over him could be said to be terrifying. If he were to discover the secret of the Star Luo power, then it would be really bad. Once the Star Luo power was activated, those who were below the peak of perfection would probably die. Li Fan felt bitter in his heart, and Carlos's heart was also not feeling good. As the dignified leader of the Knights of Holy Light, he carried a body of honor, but today, he actually couldn't take down a Chinese monkey. He didn't know what martial arts this Chinese monkey had learned to actually be able to compete with his battle aura. Carlos waved his big sword and threw out 5 waves of battle aura in a row, sweeping toward Li Fan one after another. As for Li Fan, he just stood there. He even crossed his arms, only using his legs to kick to break Carlos's battle aura. Impossible, Carlos was shocked in his heart. This Chinese monkey had actually broken his battle aura again and again. Low-level monkey. Eat my holy sword. Carlos suddenly jumped up high. He raised the golden-laid sword in his hand high, and battle aura condensed on his sword, making his sword shine like a dazzling little sun. Even Li Fan closed his eyes from the piercing light. However, Li Fan had already spread out his true energy in an instant. From the fluctuations of his true energy, he could feel that Carlos's holy sword was already 3 centimeters away from his head. Li Fan suddenly took a horse stance and directly used Beating Tiger. It hit Carlos's chest. Bam! Carlos's body flew out. The armor on his chest was completely shattered, revealing the cloth underneath. You might not believe me when I say it. Mr. Yang looked at Carlos, who was lying on the ground, and said with a smile, "This little brother that I control is the strongest today." He glanced at the chairman of the Joint Military Committee. "I'll use your life to put an end to this operation." Mr. Yang gave an order to Li Fan. Without the slightest hesitation, Li Fan directly raised his leg and walked toward the chairman of the Joint Military Committee. Although the chairman of the Joint Military Committee was also a big shot, he was so scared that his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Captain Carlos. Quickly save me. Carlos's injuries were not light. Supporting himself with his sword, he barely managed to get up. However, Li Fan had already walked in front of him. He bent down and punched his head, knocking him to the ground. 7 Star and Fei Long looked at each other, and the two of them made their move. Chapter 602. Fei Long's kick brought out a whirlwind, while Big Dipper used Shadowless Big Dipper Fist. Both of them were great experts. When they fought with Li Fan previously, they made Li Fan look very miserable. But Li Fan was completely prepared at this moment. He had seen the moves of both of them and had already digested them thoroughly. Now, Big Dipper and Fei Long were not a threat to Li Fan. Especially Li Fan, who was under Mr. Yang's control, did not have the slightest hesitation or mercy. Li Fan used Striking Tiger through the air and instantly sent Big Dipper, who had not yet punched, flying. At the same time, he used Subdue Bear and placed his palm on Fei Long's calf. Immediately, he used a shoulder throw and smashed Fei Long to the ground. Two great experts were defeated by Li Fan in a single move. These two people did not have any temper at all. Who asked the one who beat them up was the head escort. While Carlos's body erupted with battle energy and stood up again. The armor on his body was shattered by his battle energy and scattered on the ground. At the same time, he held the large golden sword with both hands and pointed it at Li Fan. For my glory. Today, you must die here. Stop messing around, brother. You can't beat me. Li Fan said, quickly get out of the way. I don't know when I will kill you. Enough. Don't insult me. My anger is enough to devour you. Are you joking? Quickly get out of the way. I can't control myself. As Li Fan spoke, he had already raised his palm and used Ursa Major Seal to slap Carlos's head. A palm print appeared on Carlos's forehead. But he actually used his forehead to block it. No, he did not rely on his forehead but on his battle energy. This kind of battle energy seemed to be more useful in defense. Battle energy? Mr. Yang obviously knew this move. He crossed his arms and looked at Carlos, but you can't stop brotherly. You are just a pitiful martyr. Nonsense. I am the honorable leader of the Holy Light Knights. You lowly people will become a part of my glorious achievements. As the Knight of Carlos spoke, he took a step forward with boundless glory. His greatsword glowed with holy light as it slashed down heavily towards Li Fan. However, Li Fan suddenly took a step forward and rushed into Carlos' arms, dodging his sword. At the same time, he elbowed Carlos back and hit him hard in the chest. Bang! Carlos finally spat out a mouthful of blood. Even his battle energy could not withstand Li Fan's sudden attack. When Carlos attacks, his defense must be the weakest. Especially in a position like the heart, it was even more fatal. Carlos felt his vision darken, and it became difficult for him to breathe. Until the moment before he fainted, he still couldn't quite believe it. He was the leader of the Knights of Holy Light. How could he lose to a skinny, dirty Chinese monkey? Li Fan raised his leg and kicked Carlos again. Carlos's body flew out and smashed into the wall beside him, falling outside the building. As for whether he was dead or alive, Li Fan had no way of knowing. The chairman of the military committee looked at Li Fan with a pale face. Young man, don't be impulsive, go and tell him that. Li Fan threw an uppercut and hit the chairman of the military committee's chin. What kind of strength did he have? The strength of 5 dragons. The head of the chairman of the military committee was directly smashed into meat paste and exploded like a watermelon. Oh my God, Susu let out a groan. This time, things were really getting out of hand. Save me. I don't want to die. God, save me, the survivors of the jury all cried and howled. Li Fan's gaze fell on them. Enough. Susu shouted, Li Fan, quickly pull yourself together. Don't let that demon use your body to do whatever he wants. You think I want to? Li Fan was also very depressed. I really can't control myself. Susu, use your ultimate skill on Mr. Yang. I've already used it. No. Susu was also about to cry. Sorry, I've already castrated myself. Mr. Yang said with a smile, otherwise, I wouldn't have the confidence to deal with a mutant like Miss Susu. Fuck. These damn zealots. Li Fan really wanted to curse. A mutant like Miss Susu should be eliminated as soon as possible. Mr. Yang gave the order. Li Fan walked towards Susu step by step. Yang Kai. Hurry up and stop. Sorry, I'm the one in charge now. Mr. Yang gave the order. Li Fan suddenly slapped Susu with his palm. Dang! Wang Xiaoyuan held her shield and blocked in front of Li Fan. Wang Xiaoyuan's shield was smashed into scrap iron, and her upper body was also smashed by Li Fan's palm. Wang Xiaoyuan, who was only grade B, had the strength of a master who had reached perfection. She was not a match for Li Fan at all. Susu's legs softened. Looking at Li Fan approaching, she knelt on the ground. But at the same time when Li Fan smashed Wang Xiaoyuan's shield, Bai Lin Luo appeared behind Li Fan and stabbed her sword into Li Fan's calf. Li Fan's calf shook a bit. He turned around and punched Liao Qianqian's body like a cannonball, smashing a wall and flying out. Li Fan's fighting strength was not something that the people in this room could resist. Li Fan, Susu looked at Li Fan in despair. She knew that her death was coming. If she had known earlier, she would have listened to Li Fan and killed Mr. Yang earlier. That way, today's events would not have happened. It was too late for Susu to regret, but time could not be rewound. After all, reality was not a game. There were no saved files that could be read. Li Fan raised his palm slowly. Susu closed her eyes, hoping that death would not be too painful. But Li Fan stopped his right hand and forcefully stopped his palm. What? Mr. Yang was surprised. Li Fan actually regained control of his body. Impossible. His mind control was clearly still there. Yang Kai, I'm sorry. The farce is over. Li Fan slowly turned around and looked at Yang Kai while clenching his fists. Now it's my turn. Impossible. How did you get out of control? Your psychic energy is indeed still controlling my body. Li Fan said slowly, but I found that my mind can still control true qi. You used your true qi to control your own body. With Mr. Yang's intelligence, he immediately understood. You guessed right. It was easy to say, but Li Fan had spent a lot of effort. You deserve to die. It's over. Mr. Yang opened his arms with a smile on his face, as if he was welcoming the new sunrise. Come, I'm ready. Chapter 603. Mr. Yang opened his arms, waiting to welcome his death. Don't kill him. Susu had already come to her senses, but she stopped Li Fan. Even now, you still want him to go through a public trial? Li Fan looked at Susu in confusion. This person is a demon. As long as he is alive, there will be more innocent people dying for him. No, he does deserve to die. But if you kill him, you will be fulfilling his wish. Susu said, today, he has already used you to kill so many people. He has already made the word mutant a tiger turn pale. If you kill him, his wish will be perfectly fulfilled. Moreover, all of these crimes will be borne by you, Li Fan. Susu continued to persuade Li Fan, don't kill him, your hands have already been stained with too much blood today. Li Fan slowly pulled out his hero's sword. I'm sorry, Susu, this person must die today. Mr. Yang was too smart and too scary. Leaving him alive for another day, Li Fan felt that the longer he stayed, the more dreams he would have. Mr. Yang had already used himself to create a storm of death in the magistrate's court. Now, it was time for him to take responsibility. Although Li Fan felt that Mr. Yang alone could not bear so many lives. Li Fan, Susu knew that she couldn't persuade Li Fan, so she could only kneel there, her face pale. The moment Li Fan let go, the hero's sword immediately flew to Mr. Yang's head, hovering above his head. Brother Li, you see, in the end, I still won. Mr. Yang revealed a victorious smile. Yes, go to hell in peace. Li Fan pointed his finger downwards. Slaying God. The hero's sword burst out with lightning, striking Mr. Yang's body. Just a moment ago, Kai Yang, who was the most intelligent person, turned into a pile of ashes. The hero's sword spun in the air and returned to Li Fan's back into its sheath. Blood and minced meat were everywhere in the Hall of Trials. It was like hell on earth. All the plans to save Mr. Yang had failed, and he himself had made a beautiful exit, turning the judgment hall into a hell of despair. Li Fan killed Mr. Yang, but his mood was not relaxed at all. Mr. Yang was right. This time, he won. However, with the death of Mr. Yang, Li Fan's spirit once again gained control of the body. The door of the court was broken open, and more knights of the Holy Light and soldiers rushed into the court, aiming their guns at Li Fan. Li Fan. You helped Kai Yang kill so many innocent people. You even killed the chief judge and the chairman of the Joint Military Committee. A temporary supreme officer walked out, wearing a military uniform, and said loudly, "You have committed a heinous crime, and you are now under arrest for crimes against humanity. Surrender immediately." Wait. You are mistaken. Susu immediately shouted. It was Kai Yang who used his superpower to control Li Fan. Li Fan did not have the ability to move on his own just now, so the crime you have given him is not valid. Whether he was controlled or not, we will only know after the investigation. The Supreme Officer said coldly, "This is Geneva, the Joint Military Committee. This is the sacred International Court of Justice. Li Fan, you have defiled this place." A light seemed to flash in the Supreme Officer's eyes. "Men, arrest him. I want to see who dares to touch him." Bai Lin Luo pushed up his spectacles and waved his hand to release Susu, who was clad in battle armor. 7-Star and Fei Long immediately stood up, and started to circulate their internal energy, ready to take action at any time. China's Shield's 4 Special Forces soldiers also did not hesitate. Li Fan was their supreme officer now. The 4 of them raised their Type 95 semi-automatic rifles and aimed at the surrounding soldiers. "Li Fan, you want to commit treason?" The supreme officer's eyes flashed as he looked at Li Fan and questioned him directly. "You said I am a traitor, so I am a traitor." Li Fan stood there with his hands behind his back, without the slightest fear. "I belong to my country, and only my country can convict me." "You want to convict me? Who do you think you are?" "I am now the supreme officer here, the temporary chairman of the military committee." The man's voice rose an octave. "You will be tried now, or you will be executed on the spot." "How funny." Li Fan laughed. "With your IQ, no wonder you can't put Yang Kai on trial. You are the one who is helping the tyrant." "Ha! If we didn't have this trial and executed Yang Kai directly in China, these people would not have died." Li Fan directly hit the nail on the head. "Whether it is you, Hunter, or the Golden Empire, all of you want Yang Kai. In other words, he has some secret on him that attracts you. This trial is fake, and the real thing is to get his secrets, right? Don't talk nonsense. You are slandering me." The temporary chairman of the military committee pointed at Li Fan. "According to the highest military order of the Geneva Joint Military Committee, execute him on the spot." The surrounding soldiers immediately raised their guns, and Li Fan shouted, "You started it first. From the next minute onwards, I will be fighting back in self-defense." The soldiers of the military committee had already opened fire. They were holding MP5s in their hands, specialized anti-terrorist weapons. The 4 Special Forces soldiers found cover on the spot and shot back at them. The standard of China's Special Forces soldiers was definitely world-class. After a few rounds of shooting, the 4 of them only suffered some minor injuries, and many of the soldiers of the Joint Military Committee were killed on the spot. "Knights of Holy Light, it is time to witness your glory." The temporary chairman of the military committee continued to order. The surrounding Knights of Holy Light burned their chi and rushed toward Li Fan. "All of you stay back, I will do it alone." Li Fan shouted at Bai Lin Luo and the others to retreat, then he stepped forward, swallowed a yuan restoring pill, and started a fight to the death with these Knights of Holy Light. It was said to be a fight to the death because Li Fan did not show any mercy. These people were here to kill him, there was no need for him to let them live. Li Fan slapped each knight of holy light, and all the knights of holy light that were hit by him were smashed into pieces. No matter how sturdy the armor of the knights of holy light was, or how powerful their chi was, they were not a match for Li Fan. In front of Li Fan, they were like paper. Seeing the ninth knight of holy light having his upper body smashed by Li Fan, the temporary chairman of the military committee was finally moved. Li Fan, do you know what you are doing? I know, I am defending myself. Li Fan said without hesitation, the Joint Military Committee wants to kill me with groundless charges, I will not let myself be trampled on. With that, he pulled out the hero's sword and separated his hands at the hero's sword. 7 sword shadows appeared in front of him, and with a push, they flew out. 7-star sword. Pft, pft, pft. The Knights of Holy Light were pierced through their chests by Li Fan's sword shadows, and their internal organs were brought out. Chapter 604. Li Fan was truly a killing machine. No matter how strong the Knights of Holy Light were, they were immediately killed when they met Li Fan. Li Fan released the 7 sword shadows and sped up the massacre. In the blink of an eye, almost all the Knights of Holy Light in the Court of Justice were killed. The remaining few Knights of Holy Light did not even have the courage to hold their swords. They retreated in fear. No matter how the military committee chairman shouted at them, they ignored him. Everyone, I am a pacifist. Li Fan withdrew the 7 sword shadows and the hero's sword returned to him, floating in front of his palm. Pacifist? The military committee chairman almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He was a pacifist. Where was his face? Everyone just needs to put down the weapons in your hands and retreat obediently. I will not kill anyone. Believe me, I am a kind person. Li Fan even showed a shy smile. The military committee chairman was so angry that his hands were trembling. Li Fan. You are now in the Court of Justice. This is our territory. Even if you are a Chinese, you must accept our trial here. Surrender immediately. Do you hear me? What right do you have to order me? Li Fan crossed his arms and looked at the military committee chairman defiantly. I will not accept such an unfair trial. How impudent. Lawless. The military committee chairman roared. Don't think that you can always be so arrogant. Even if you escape from here, you will become an international fugitive. By then, even if you can survive, you will be a vagabond forever. Is that so? Li Fan glanced at Bai Lin Luo. Little Four Eyes, did you record everything just now? Yes. Bai Lin Luo pointed at a button camera on his chest. It's high definition. Thank you. Li Fan made an okay gesture. The military committee chairman's face turned ugly. He must execute Li Fan on the spot today. If he were to escape, things would become very ugly. But this Huaxia man was a little too powerful. Their strongest, Carlos, had been killed by him. Bastard! How could this Chinese be so strong? His appearance had disrupted all their plans. Susu, let's go. Li Fan walked out with large strides. Susu and the others followed behind him. The 4 Special Forces soldiers walked in the middle, still vigilantly looking around. At the back of the Big Dipper and the Flying Dragon Palace, there were 2 great martial arts experts guarding them. If others wanted to sneak attack them, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Stop them! Stop them! The chairman of the military council let out a hysterical cry. However, neither the soldiers nor the Knights of Holy Light dared to step forward. They were not afraid of war, but they were not willing to die in vain. Li Fan swaggered out of the trial hall with Susu and the others. No one dared to stop him. Li Fan had already displayed his strength. Who would dare to challenge him now? No matter how the chairman of the military council shouted, no one moved. What are you waiting for? Fire! Fire! The chairman of the military council pushed the soldier next to him, but the soldier shook his head vigorously and shouted "No" in English. "You are a member of the Knights of Holy Light. Where is your honor? Go. Chase after them and take down that criminal." The chairman of the military council shouted at another Knight of Holy Light. The Knight of Holy Light had long been scared out of his wits. He had even dropped his sword and was in a daze. The chairman of the military council was anxious. He looked at Li Fan's back and suddenly pulled out a pistol from the holster of a soldier next to him. He aimed it at Li Fan's back. However, Li Fan only turned his head slightly and glanced at him casually. This glance seemed to be filled with endless murderous intent. The chairman of the military council felt as if a hand had grabbed his throat and squeezed it tightly. He had difficulty breathing and was nervous. He dropped his pistol. Li Fan, Susu, and the others returned to the cruise ship. When he came out, he also brought Poseidon of the Golden Empire with him. Rather than leaving it to those idiots to judge, he might as well find out some useful information himself. The few of them boarded the ship. The glass room that had previously held Mr. Yang was now holding Poseidon. "Hey, bro. What did I tell you? That Mr. Yang is a traitor through and through. You believed him, and this is the result." Poseidon was still gloating over their misfortune. "Shut up." Susu was in a bad mood. "This is a free country. You can't deprive me of my right to speak." Poseidon continued to shout. Susu stretched out her hand and pinched the air. Poseidon screamed and knelt on the ground. He held his crotch and could not stand up for a long time. "Torture, torture. You are torturing a prisoner." After a long time, Poseidon finally managed to say something. "If you keep shouting, I'll kill you." Li Fan walked over and glared at Poseidon. Poseidon finally became obedient. Poseidon had personally witnessed Li Fan's strength in the judgment court. He could offend anyone but Li Fan. This guy could casually smash a person into pieces with a slap. This kind of strength was not something a small Poseidon could handle. Being obedient was the best choice. Although Poseidon liked to show off, he was not stupid. "Li Fan, this time. I've implicated you." Susu looked at Li Fan and felt a little sad. "No, I didn't do my job well." Li Fan sighed. "I don't want the remaining 1 million. Your job is done. Send Kai Yang to the court." Susu told the truth. Li Fan's job was indeed done. "The rest is out of our control. Let's go back and see what the chief has to say." Susu thought for a while and said, "But don't worry. You are innocent in this matter. We are Chinese. First, we are not bound by their laws. Second, we did not break any laws. Those people can forget about trying you. I know. Those guys are just clowns. I won't put them in my eyes." Li Fan looked at Susu and casually comforted her. "Don't worry about me. I'm fine now. It's fine as long as you are not injured." The Special Abilities Bureau seemed to be very complicated. Li Fan felt that the Special Abilities Bureau might not be able to support him when he returned to China. But it didn't matter. He, Li Fan, had always done things his own way. A small Special Abilities Bureau could not do anything to him. Li Fan did not look at principles. He only did things based on conscience. After we go back, everyone will go their separate ways. This Poseidon is a gift I'm leaving to the Special Abilities Bureau. I'm sure you can get a lot of information about the Golden Empire from him. Okay. Susu nodded. Also, the way back might not be peaceful. Don't wander around. You must stay by my side. Chapter 605. After sailing on the sea for another 7 days, the cruise ship slowly approached a small island on the sea to replenish its supplies. "By Lin Luo and the other 2 big brothers, follow me down to replenish our food and daily necessities." Li Fan pointed at Little Four Eyes and the other two Special Forces soldiers and followed him down the ship. I want to go too. Susu jumped off the ship as well, and Li Fan hurriedly chased her back. It's very dangerous right now. Why did you come down? Hurry up and go back. Aya, didn't you say that you want me to follow you closely? Susu pulled Li Fan's arm and said, that's what I did. If it wasn't for the difference between men and women, I would have slept on your bed last night. Li Fan's forehead was filled with cold sweat. This girl, she's not serious with her words. I'm surrounded on all sides with enemies everywhere. It's not necessarily a good thing for you to follow me. There's Big Dipper and Big Brother Fei Long on the ship. With the two of them, you'll be safe. No, I'll just give you trouble. Who asked me to spend money? Susu winked at Li Fan, I'm your boss. Fuck, these tens of thousands of yuan are really not easy to earn. Li Fan couldn't help but ridicule. Alright, then follow me. Don't stray too far away from me. Otherwise, if something really happens, I won't be able to save you. I know, so long-winded. You're clearly a high school student, but why are you as long-winded as an old man? It's better to be safe than sorry. Moreover, I feel that this island is a bit strange. Li Fan muttered. This island is a route that we deliberately chose after a day's journey. Bai Lin Luo pushed his glasses up, looked at the somewhat simple harbor, and said, we're doing this to avoid the spies, but it might not be 100% effective. Yes, those people really want my life. Li Fan said, I killed Mr. Yang and the chairman of the military committee. The most important thing is, I know a secret. Secret? Susu and Bai Lin Luo glanced at Li Fan at the same time. After Li Fan boarded the ship, he hadn't said anything about this matter. This secret is a little too shocking. I think, whether it's the chairman of the military committee in Geneva or the Golden Empire, they all want to know this secret. When Mr. Yang was controlling himself, he also used his special ability to pass a picture to Li Fan. What Li Fan saw was an island. Unlike the other islands, that island was covered in dark clouds all year round. Thunder and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. In Mr. Yang's memory, Li Fan knew that this island was called Demon Island. Legend has it that there is a kind of demon-like creature on this island. They have powerful genes and are said to be able to evolve humans to become even more outstanding. However, Demon Island was hidden in an unknown place, and only Mr. Yang knew where it was. This was the secret that everyone wanted to know. They wanted to find this creature and take its genes. No matter what the purpose of this group of people was, it was definitely not a good thing. Li Fan digested this secret on his own and didn't want to tell others. However, the Golden Empire and the Joint Military Committee would definitely not give up this secret and would continue to send people to kill him. At this moment, the small island they had stopped on also gave off an unreliable feeling. Whether it was the shops or the restaurants in this port, Li Fan felt that something was wrong. Everyone's eyes were intentionally or unintentionally looking at him. Be careful. Leave immediately after buying the things. Ah. I still want to walk around the island. It's rare that the scenery here is so good and the seawater is so blue. Ah, look, there's even diving over there. How about we go and play diving? Don't mess around. Be careful of losing your life. Li Fan reminded Susu, you are the next successor of the Special Abilities Bureau. With your playful personality, if the Special Abilities Bureau is handed over to you, it will be finished. I am still a little girl after all. Susu smiled somewhat embarrassedly, it's not easy for me to come out at public expense, right? How is this public expense? Didn't you give me 50,000? Humph. You still have the nerve to say that. Susu said angrily, you ruthless exploiter, profiteer. Ha, you will soon know how much I have taken care of you. While speaking, Li Fan led them to purchase the necessary supplies. Fortunately, there were not many people on their ship, so it was very easy to purchase supplies. Especially the 4 Special Forces soldiers, Big Dipper, and Fei Long. Their lives were relatively simple, and the things they ate and used were very simple. However, Susu was a girl and needed to purchase some female products. Susu, little whose condition these 2 days isn't very good. You should talk to him more when you have time. Li Fan said to Susu while purchasing food. You're still talking. Isn't he scared by you? Susu said, have you forgotten? In the judgment hall, you went on a killing spree. Let alone little who, even I can't bear to see the scattered corpses on the ground. None of this is what I wanted. Li Fan sighed, I am only an ordinary high school student. Committing such a sin, do you think I want it? But this also means that I am not strong enough. If I was strong enough, Kai Yang wouldn't be able to control me, and those people wouldn't have died. I don't really understand you martial artists. But, if one day you need my help, you must tell me. Ah, is there a fee? There is no fee. Susu immediately said, I am different from you. I am not a person who values money as much as my life. We are friends, helping each other is our duty. How can we ask for money, don't you think so? Oh, yes, yes, yes. As long as there was no fee, Li Fan was happy. So that 25,000, I won't give it to you. We are all friends, talking about money hurts our relationship. Li Fan was speechless, then that 1 million, how are you going to let me take it? Damn, that is the country's money, not mine. I don't care about the country's money, but of course I care about my own money. Susu's words made Li Fan unable to refute. What she said seemed to be quite reasonable. Forget it, I don't want the 25,000, just treat it as compensation for your shock. Last time at the judgment hall, this girl must have been scared. I didn't expect you to have a humane side. Susu was very surprised, I thought you only recognized money and not people. Nonsense, how could I be that kind of person? Boss, we bought so much, why don't you give us a discount, isn't that too much? Seeing Li Fan haggling with the boss like a shrew, Susu rolled her eyes. Li Fan. Someone is watching us. At this time, Bai Lin Luo suddenly moved closer to Li Fan's ear and said. Chapter 606. Someone is staring at us. Bai Lin Luo hinted with his eyes, and Li Fan followed his gaze. A man was standing at the dock. He was bare-chested, chewing betel in his mouth and carrying a very long harpoon on his shoulder. A fisherman? Li Fan raised his eyebrows. How could a fisherman have such white skin? Bai Lin Luo said, he is definitely a spy. Alright, got it. Li Fan immediately said, everyone, board the boat immediately. The materials were almost all purchased. With Li Fan's order, these people did not dare to be negligent and quickly packed up their things and boarded the boat. But at this moment, a helicopter suddenly appeared in the sky. The helicopter had a large iron plate on it. With a loud bang, it threw the iron plate onto the harbor. One helicopter after another appeared in the sky and dropped metal plates one after another. These iron plates were like the iron walls of a prison. In the blink of an eye, the entire island was sealed. Right now, this place was a huge cage. Li Fan and Bai Lin Luo were trapped inside and could not escape even if they had wings. The helicopters hovering in the sky were slowly flying away. All of a sudden, all the people on the island appeared. These people were all fierce as they surrounded Li Fan and his group. Their eyes were unkind as if they wanted to skin Li Fan alive. Everyone, it can't be that you made such a big commotion just to meet with me, right? Li Fan looked at them with a smile, but his eyes were flashing with an ominous glint. Just surrender. You can't escape anymore. A man with a scar on his face walked out and looked at Li Fan and said fiercely. Escape? You might be thinking too much. I don't want to escape at all. Li Fan stood there, letting Bai Lin Luo and 2 Special Forces soldiers protect Susu. He crossed his arms and stood at the front, looking at the ferocious thugs in front of him with a smile on his face. It was as if he was bathing in the spring breeze, as if he didn't care about these people at all. Li Fan, if you're a smart man, you'd better surrender. This way, you and your companions won't die. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Li Fan laughed heartily. If you have the ability, then come at me. If you don't, then scram. Stop whining. Then just wait for your death. Scarface seemed to be the leader of these people. With a wave of his hand, the people behind him all rushed towards Li Fan. The island was densely packed with people, and they were all Li Fan's enemies. Little Four Eyes, protect Su Su. Li Fan did not hesitate, nor did he flinch. Who was he? How could he be frightened by these people? He immediately leapt up and jumped towards those people. These thugs' martial arts were not bad. Their physical strength was better than ordinary people, and their quality was also higher. But Li Fan charged into the crowd and kicked out with both legs, continuously sending out ripples, sweeping the enemies in front of him in half. No matter what kind of enemy, in front of Li Fan, they were not his match. More and more corpses piled up beside Li Fan. These enemies could only increase Li Fan's merit. The current Li Fan had already turned into a god of war. With a wave of his hand, corpses were everywhere. Idiot, don't go and die for nothing. Scarface was clearly the leader among them. Seeing his subordinates acting like idiots, rushing to their deaths, he immediately felt a bit angry. A bunch of idiots, let the warlock team come. Scarface scolded, and these people immediately retreated like a receding tide. Then, many people in black robes came from behind, each of them holding a black spell book in their hands. Warlock team. Susu's expression immediately tensed up, and she grabbed Li Fan. Li Fan, no, not good, what's wrong? Li Fan did not see any clues from these people in black robes, he only felt that the black spell books in their hands were emitting a strange energy. These are the Joint Military Committee's secret forces, they are called the Warlock Team. These people themselves are not powerful, but the black books in their hands, they are sewn from the mutant's skin, they contain the mutant's super energy. Super energy, what the hell is that? Li Fan did not understand, but he immediately understood. These Warlock Team had a total of more than 100 people. They stood around the island, one hand holding the black books, the other hand facing Li Fan. In an instant, hundreds of crimson fireballs suddenly broke through the air and flew out from all directions. They gathered together in the air and smashed down on Li Fan and the others. Fuck, it's a meteor shower, Li Fan looked up at the falling fire rain. Such a big movement, their Warlock Team was really generous. If there was only one fireball, it would not be a threat at all. But now there were more than 100 of them, this was a bit awesome. Even Li Fan felt a bit numb when facing so many fireballs. It seemed that the Warlock Team's true strength was their numbers. Great War God. Li Fan used Toad transformation and a Great War God condensed from True Chi appeared behind him. Great War God stretched out his right hand and pinched the air. Dragon Toad absorbs water. The fireballs that fell from all directions were suddenly pulled together by the power of the Great War God Li Fan, and condensed into a ball. Boom! The fireball exploded, and its power dispersed in all directions. Sparks scattered everywhere. Li Fan's Great War God was also smashed by the impact of the flames. The power it carried was too huge. Fuck, Li Fan was a bit shocked. Damn it, this is not a joke, right? More than 100 warlock squads, this was no laughing matter. When they made a move, the power was earth-shattering and it was not weaker than a missile. It seems that the Joint Military Committee really spent a lot of money to deal with me. Li Fan could not help but sneer, they really took care of me, Li Fan. I really need to repay them. Li Fan said and threw a kick at the Warlock Team in the distance. The half-moon shockwave flew out and kicked 2 warlocks in half. The power of this move scared the other warlocks. Not to mention destroying the fireballs shot by more than 100 people, he even casually killed their people. This Chinese is so strong. Tell the warlock team to be careful. This Li Fan is a bit powerful. Scarface reminded the warlock team, you guys must keep moving. Long snake tactic. Scarface gave the order and these people immediately moved. Like a long snake, they started to circle around Li Fan. When these people moved, Li Fan had a headache. This way, the accuracy of the attack that he renamed Crescent Kick was greatly reduced. Different from rushing Thunder Kick, Crescent Kick was faster and could be used as a long-distance attack. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.